Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing well on this Friday. As you can see, we did get the counter for the Lost Kingdom shutting down. I would say that the last days of the Lost Kingdom and also the first day or two that you're back in Home Kingdom reminds me of the last day of school, where you have this bittersweet feeling where something, meaningful has sort of ended. You're not going to see all your friends for a few months. But you also feel good that the school year is over. And it's just these mixed emotions, right? It's this weird mixed emotions. And I think I'll probably feel that way tomorrow when I teleport back to the Home Kingdom. I am going to stay here a little bit longer and do some chaining and do some Alliance mobilization quests. I am right now doing I think I'm doing a 66-point quest. And almost nobody else is even doing quests. We're still on level 5. We are in 16th place out of 20 in whatever tier we're in right now. And even these really nice gift quests are not really getting used too much, so I keep refreshing a bunch of them. But yeah, I've got my gatherers out doing a 66-point Alliance mobilization quest, which just goes to show you that sometimes you eat the potato and sometimes you are the potato. And I'm kind of in potato mode right now. Haven't really been chaining a lot. Haven't been taking the Alliance mobilization quests too seriously. I just saw one that I could do while I exercised and got ready for the stream. So I just grabbed it. Only Farmer, welcome. Nero, welcome. Looking good in green. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of we're getting to the end. We're getting to the end of this Lost Kingdom. It's been a really good war. We played well, we won. We accomplished our objectives. My trash talk did not come back to haunt me. The morale in the kingdom is still quite good. And hopefully we'll have a very good migration off the back of this KvK. But it is definitely coming to an end, And people are in off-season mode for sure. I mean, it's not just me that's slacking on the Alliance mobilization. Pretty much everybody is slacking. Not Lieb. Shout out to Lieb, who's doing a ton, even with her alts. Shout out to Lieb. But, yeah, I mean, everyone's pretty casual about this Alliance mobilization. The Korean Alliance is more serious about it, and so a lot of our players are in N70S, and they're doing Alliance mobilization from there. But yeah, I mean, we're just, it's weird. It's weird when everybody stops playing. The chat got super quiet. The Alliance chat has gotten super duper quiet. Irungdir, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I just watched your War Alliance vid, really good. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that video. And the reception to that video was pretty great, actually. I was really happy with how many people watched it in the first 24 hours. And I do have a I do have a devious plan where, let's see, what can I show here? So basically I looked at the matches for Osiris League this weekend, and it looked to me like, here, I'll show you. Yeah, so here's the schedule. Here's the schedule for Osiris League, right? Looks like they're focusing on Anubis this week. But call me crazy, but none of these matches look interesting to me. I mean, Wib will almost certainly beat 1862. This SJ32 versus LB81 match might be close. I haven't quite looked at it. CPL against 244 might be the most interesting of all these matches. But I mean, they're all just kind of, I don't know. I don't know that I would watch any of these, to be quite honest. And so my devious plan is to make a war video this weekend and release it on Sunday morning. So everyone will be in a ROK watching mood. They'll jump on YouTube. They'll be like, oh, it's Osiris League Sunday. Let's watch some ROK. They'll see the matchups and then they'll be like, hey, what else? What else is there to watch on YouTube today? And then they'll see my video and they'll be like, oh, you know, somebody's might get zeroed. Somebody got imprisoned and they might get zeroed. Well, all right, let's watch this instead. So that's my tricky little plan to get viewership this weekend. Hopefully it works. And as far as the stream today, I would say we have a good bit of stuff planned. There's a lot going on in ROK. We will go over the Osiris League bets later. I did get a hot tip on a very good bet, and so I'll just kind of check that Discord message, review it, make sure that it's correct. But it should be a very straightforward week of Osiris League betting because we have a kingdom that kind of fell apart or had a ton of drama, and so we can just bet against that team. We can probably bet against TR again also. I've not looked at the odds, but I'm guessing that the odds on TR will be once again overly generous. There are a couple KvKs to update you all on, a couple of Warriors Unbounds to update you on. In one, the fighting just started, and then in another, the fighting just ended in Kingsland. So I think those, you know, and I think in particular the 1846 1175 KvK is quite interesting at this point based on what happened yesterday. So we will check in on that one, see if there's some good fighting, and talk about, you know, what we think is going to happen in the future, because I think that in terms of what happened yesterday and in terms of how 1302 very quickly is locking in 1254, I think that's spells big trouble for 1846. I think 1846 has a much bigger challenge ahead of them now. And we'll play Champions of Olympia later. I assume Champions of Olympia is open today. Oh, More Than Gems. We got More Than Gems today as well. Okay, so this is going to be... Does this help with Alliance mobilization? I can never remember. It does, right? Like, you can spend gems. Okay, so from now on, I'll be keeping all the spend gem quests. And I'll use some of these myself. Okay, so good timing on the More Than Gems. Only Farmer still has to do their bets as well. That's good. Yeah, we will go over them for sure. And then I will make a video after the stream. So people can just get the quick recap of the bets. And you know, happy to talk about whatever's on anyone's mind in ROK. I'm gonna do a little barb chaining right off the bat, sort of get my thoughts together, and let people trickle into the stream. You know, it's just quiet. It's so quiet. I'll show you how many people are online in our alliance. There's 7 people online. I haven't seen it over 10 since I got up earlier today. So I mean, it's just super quiet. You know, it's summer. People are probably touching grass. And it's perfectly natural to take a break after war. Like, it is totally natural to do that. I'm just the anxious person who is like, are they going to come back? You know, all these people who stopped logging in for a few days, are they going to ever come back, or are they just done with the game? As I'm talking about it out loud to you all, that makes no sense, of course, because it's hard to drop this game. You can not play it for a few days, but the game does eventually pull you back in. And it's just totally normal to take a break in August when Lost Kingdom is ending. Once we get back to the home kingdom, most people will simply log in, send their gatherers out. Maybe they'll do forts, but maybe they'll just spend their AP killing barbs. And we'll do whatever events are on the docket each day. Oh, I do need to finish KvK, actually. But I'll do this later. You know, it's totally natural to take a break from the game, but I'm just like, I guess I'm one of those rare people who doesn't have anything better to do, and so I'm still here. And I guess that's where that's what makes the whole thing bittersweet, I guess, is that I will still be here. I will not necessarily be doing the full recovery that other people are doing. You know, the full, like, in real life recovery. I'll be recovering my account, but I might not be recovering my, the balance in my life. And so I'm still here, but everybody else left, and so it's just a little bit lonely, I guess. Only Farmer says, apparently there's some drama in my upcoming KvK. Okay, well, let me look at the kingdoms here. See, Only Farmer, when I looked at your KvK, I actually pulled up all the kingdoms on Rockboard. And I thought it looked kind of fair. Because this gray camp of 1525 and 1188 is like so strong that if 1484 teams up with the gray camp against 2489, it looks kind of fair. And if I'm not wrong, this is the green camp here. 7 whatever these people are called, 7 inches or 7 inches of death or something like that. So I don't know. I wonder what the drama would be. That's interesting. I wonder what the drama is here. Because I feel like you can get there's a fairly good match to be had here. So yeah, that's interesting as well. I heard that 365 got a match not found. I also heard that 1093 and 960 were talking about registering for KvK very soon. So I think we've got a pretty good diet of big name KvKs coming up. The 2605 versus 1846 matchup looks really good to me. I don't know that yesterday. I don't know that 1254's underperformance yesterday changes that calculation much, because I think 1846 was the favorite, and maybe now it's more 50-50, or maybe even. I personally think 2605 side is the favorite in that KvK now. We'll talk about it later. Stompy, welcome to the stream. We will go over the bets a little bit later. Earinger says, always weird at the end of KvK, takes some adjustment to get back into the rhythm of Home Kingdom. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I find my rhythm pretty quick, but it's more... What is it? You know what it is? It's just, for me, it's just the knowledge that I have a bunch of stuff to do in my life. And I just can't be... And I shouldn't be going around all day, killing barb camps, doing 1+1 forts, and, you know, gathering on my farms, right? It's like the knowledge that I shouldn't be doing those things, but then I'm doing them anyway. Whereas, like, when I'm in Lost Kingdom, right? I know that I need to be doing all this work. Like, I need to be taking advantage of the time that I have in the Lost Kingdom to, like, kill the high-level barbs, to, you know, to... Early on, you want to do all your Bastion quests, you want to get a lot of crystals, you want to get your tech going. So, like, I feel good about the time I'm spending in the game when it's Lost Kingdom. But then you go back to Home Kingdom, all my teammates stop playing, the chat gets really quiet, and I know I should be touching grass, but I'm just sitting here on this digital grass instead. Because let's be real, the Home Kingdom is very relaxing, right? You've got waterfalls. I'm pretty sure you have more waterfalls in the Home Kingdom than you have on this map. I actually don't remember seeing a single waterfall on this map. Because it's just like a river that never ends. The waterfalls appear at the end of rivers. Is there one here? Oh, this is a... Ooh. Look at this. A waterfall into nowhere with a rainbow at the bottom of a dark chasm. Holy smokes. Wow. If that isn't mixed messages, I don't know what is. Is this scenic or is this dangerous? Not even sure. Oh, I was trying to show the newspaper. Yeah, so like Benny, our #1 contributor, best player Benny, is already back in the Home Kingdom doing barb camps. You know, so he is finding his groove already. And, yeah, it's just, you know, I don't know. I try. I don't want to get too. I know inevitably I will get fairly personal on this stream. But I don't want to bog people down with it. I'm just kind of like feeling a little bit bummed in general. Just because like work has not been going that great, and Lost Kingdom is ending. I have to think about the things in my real life because I can no longer distract myself with this game. And it's just kind of mixed. There's some good, there's some bad going on. Jetty says, are you going to make more videos about this KvK? Absolutely. I will make a lot of videos about the KvK. I mean, one of the good things that's happened for me recently is just that the last 3 war videos I've done, one about this KvK and 2 about our previous KvK, the last 3 war videos that I've done have been my best performing videos by a lot. By a lot. They do better than my non-war videos. And so that's something that's reliable, right? If I make quality war videos, people will watch them. The engagement will be very good. I will get more subscribers to the channel. The channel will grow. And the view count on the videos will be very good. So that's something I can count on. Like in this transitionary period where I'm feeling mixed about a lot of things in my life, one thing that is reliable is that if I make good war videos, a lot of people will watch them. So that's something you can hang your hat on. And I'm definitely planning to do that. Heat Rocks, welcome to the stream. Only Farmer is going to probably be on the Content Creator podcast. I'm guessing it's this weekend, and it looks like the inside info, the inside drama, will be leaked there. So I'll be sure to tune into that. I do enjoy all the podcasts that people do in Rise of Kingdoms. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to get more of a podcast type feel with my channel. I will jump on the live stream channel in our Alliance Discord. So like if anybody ever wants to jump on the stream with me, they're welcome to do that. I am in the live stream chat right now. Because yeah, the podcast content is always really good in ROK. I like it anyway. I like it. Yeah, Only Farmer, you got the fifth beetle roll on that podcast, which is a nice place to be. That's a nice roll to get, actually. I'm a little bit jealous, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. Jetty says, I'm in a B seed Heroic Anthem KvK currently, and we won our first zone in 24 hours. Not much fights, making me consider going to A seed for longer fights. Yeah, I mean, in my experience, A seed battles in zone 5 of Heroic Anthem, they don't usually last a lot longer than 24 hours. The last one we did, we lost in about 24 hours. The one before that, we had an extremely good fight that lasted about 48 hours, maybe 50, 52 hours. But that was pretty rare, right? That was pretty rare. I think if you're getting a 24-hour fight in... I mean, if it was really 24 straight hours of fighting, I think that's pretty good, Jetty. But if it was like light fighting the whole time, then maybe it's not. Then I can certainly see why you might want to go somewhere bigger. Yeah, I mean, B Kingdom Life is alright. B Kingdom Life is definitely alright. Henrik, welcome to the stream. Stompy says, thoughts on Huo. Yeah, that's another thing we will talk about here. Actually, let's probably get started on a couple of these things. Let's get started. I don't want to sit around here all day chaining barbs. Let's actually start with Huo. Because something that I heard, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to summon Huo, and then I'm going to go to a different account and pick up this bundle. So let me just very quickly go to a different account. I'll show you guys my brand new farm account that I just started. But I mean, Stumpy, to give you my thoughts on Huo is I think he's pretty good. Like I'm seeing, like, to me he looks pretty good. Okay, so this is my new farm that I just started in Kingdom. I don't even know what kingdom this is. In Kingdom 3271. But let me just sit on this for a second and buy the Writer of History on my phone. I do not have a pop-up blocker yet, so we're gonna do it this way. And then I'll show you something with Huo because I wanted to test it myself, but people were basically saying that his third skill doesn't quite work as it should, which is essentially the issue is that it resets when you jump in a resource tile. It resets the 30-second timer as though you went into a city, right? Which is, you know, that's definitely not how it should work, right? Jumping into a resource tile is not the same type of city hopping as jumping into an actual city. Anyway, the one thing I wanted to show you about this farm account while I'm here is the number of players who join these new servers. Like, look at my rank in Sunset Canyon. I'm 3,800 in Sunset Canyon. Let me try to play somebody. All right, let's try to kill this. This looks tough. I don't think I can beat them, but we'll try it anyway. All right, let's just see how this goes. Oh, owned him. Okay. So now I'm up to 3,300th. When I started Sunset Canyon here, I was in 3,900th place. But I mean, you essentially have over 4,000 active people in the first 2 weeks of the server. Like, the server's actually been up for 13 days now. So I was just kind of amazed by how many people are playing on these new servers. I mean, like, over 4,000 active players on this server after 2 weeks. I thought that was pretty amazing. I thought those numbers were pretty amazing, that this many new players are entering this game pretty much every few days. Here, let me, since I'm here, let me just send my gatherers back out and start some new training. I'm being very casual with this account here, but anyway, it made me optimistic for the future of ROK. If they're getting that many new players every time they open up a new server. And you know, the early game is fun in Rise of Kingdoms. The early game is definitely fun. So some number of those players are going to get hooked on the game. And I'm sure that Lilith has data around how many people quit once they start getting close to SOC. And if the data shows that a lot of people quit as they get into SOC, then they can, you know, they can respond to that data by making the new player experience better, making the SOC transition better. All right, so let me just level up this Huo a little bit, and we will test out. I mean, I'm sure it works, but I just wanted to do it myself. And I also wanted to kind of look at the animations for Huo, because I haven't really looked at them yet. So let me just power some skills in here. Akashi, welcome to the stream. Peter X says my Joan and Nev does better still. Yeah, so I think the thing with Huo is really we have to compare him to Nevsky. We have to say who is better, Huo or Nevsky, because both of them ultimately are shuttling. They are shuttling. Right, so the only thing I'm wondering about is how am I going to test this against high-level barbs? All right, so really, like, what the deal is both Huo and Nevsky are shuttling AoE doing secondaries through a fight. Nevsky does it. Nevsky shuttles someone like Joan or William by being pretty tanky because he has so many stats, doing a very good debuff, and doing a lot of damage in his own right. Yeah, so he gets a lot of health. Nevsky gets a lot of health. Gets defense. Yeah, so Nevsky shuttles the secondary or escorts the secondary by being tanky. Huo escorts the secondary by boosting skill damage quite a bit. Because, you know, Nevsky and Huo together don't make a lot of sense because it really is the AoE damage that is the threat in ROK nowadays. So you wouldn't focus fire a Nevsky Huo, but you would focus fire a Huo William or Nevsky Joan. And so the question is Huo as good as Nevsky as that primary commander? I watched a bit of Fleisch's stream earlier this morning, and the Huo William was doing basically as much damage as the Nevsky Joan. He actually ran Huo Attila at one point, and the Huo Attila was doing good damage. So, I mean, he might not be quite as good as Nevsky, but I think he ultimately fills a very similar role to Nevsky. He has a very good debuff. This March Speed, 50% March Speed debuff, I would argue, is just as good as Nevsky's debuff, if not better, because it's less conditional. And I'm just seeing that Huo William does very similar damage to Nevsky Joan. I mean, Pete Rock says his Joan Nevsky does better still. That's a good data point. But I think it's close, right? I think Huo is close to doing as much damage as Nevsky, or bringing as much value to Nevsky. And so I think he's basically just slightly worse than Nevsky, which to me is a great place to build another Cav commander. A great way to expand my my Cav army. Because I can just replace XY with Huo. I can then run XY Mechmed as my third Cav March. So I don't really get why people are negative about Huo. But let's see what people are saying. I guess I'm hesitant because I have maxed XY and he gets vaporized so quickly, and that third skill resetting rage is a worry to me. I mean, it's an issue if the third skill resets. Well, the resetting rage is like not a bad trade-off because this skill is so good, right? The first 50, the stuff you get in the first 15 seconds of battle, where you're dealing 30% more skill damage and you're getting 150 rage requirement reduction. Like, this is so good that I guess this is different. This is a different skill, but I mean, you get the heal. Sorry, I'm blanking a little bit. It's resetting the rage. Wait. Okay, so when you get the autumn wind, so it's the fourth skill that resets the rage, right? And oh man, I'm sorry guys, I'm like just blanking a little bit here. So it gains autumn wind. So what is it trading? What is it trading? It's resetting the rage. Oh, and it's removing all buffs and debuffs, but it's also resetting the amount of time that's been in combat. Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, this is still like a very positive trade for Huo. Like, yes, your rage is being reset, but you are you're getting a rage reduction and a huge skill damage bonus. Only Farmer says, I saw some KvK report from HQ Joan, can be super good depending on how good someone is at micromanaging. I mean, I even saw good reports for Huo as a rally. I saw this like Huo Bertrand pass rally report that was really good. Henrik says, I just played the 2100 1228 KvK, my account is drained. Yes, Henrik, I heard that was a very, very good war. I guess that we don't need to, I don't really need to test Huo here. I mean, everyone is saying that basically when you go into a resource tile, it resets this 30-second timer. And I think that definitely is not how it should work. Let me use some of these skills here. And put some gear on Huo, and let's test it out once, I guess. Let's see. But yeah, Henrik, I was very curious about that war. The 1228 2100 war. I think I slept on that one a little too much. I casted it once or twice. And actually last Friday. So basically, for those who don't know, what happened in this war is that 2100 beat 1228 in the first zone. And then there was a very big battle in Zone 6 where 1228's team owned the zone, but, you know, 2100 was coming in from here. 2100 was coming in from here. And then 1694 was coming in from over here. And 1694 never got in. This kingdom here, 2644, I believe, was a major player in 1228's team winning. But it was last Friday that before the stream, I wanted to look to see if there was fighting anywhere. And I did check this zone. And at that time, 2100 had invaded Norrisford, but but 1228 still had forts sort of at these passes. It was at this pass here. Like 1228 had some forts over here, I think. And maybe at that point I should have realized that there was more to this war than meets the eye. Black Panther, thank you for the donation. Very much appreciate it. Algebra says I fought 2644 in my last KvK. They are very active. Yeah, I mean, something... So it was just kind of... I wish I had watched this. Honestly, I just really wish I had watched this and seen what had happened. Because... You know, basically 1228 held on to enough of Norrisford that they were able to use the passes to get into Kingsland. 1694 had to come in from over here. And I think basically, even though it was a pretty... Even though 1228's side was losing, seemed to be losing, they did have as many entrances into Kingsland, or maybe even more entrances into Kingsland. And then 2644 just did a very good job. They fought 2100, I think, for the first time, basically. And they just they ended up being the stronger team. They must have had more troops left. I'm guessing that 2100 just got completely drained as this KvK went on. Oh, let's see what these people are saying. Henrik says, I'm in 1694, and it was 2060-44 campmates that made the big difference. Okay, so that's, what, 1473? Oh, yeah, this RYF. Yeah, thank you, Henrik, for pointing that out, yes. I did notice this RYF kingdom, like, much earlier in the KvK. I noticed that they were a Korean kingdom. They had the 5 stars. They were winning their zones, right? Like they were keeping 1694 out of this zone just fine. So yeah, RYF was kind of like the sleeping giant here. And you know, maybe they were just better, right? Like maybe this Korean, I mean, this is not like a shocking thing, right? Maybe this Korean alliance with 5 stars is simply better than 2100 with their many stars as well. So yeah, I mean, so 2100 only has 3 stars. They're all in Heroic Anthem. They gained a lot of reputation in the last Heroic Anthem because they won a 2 versus 1 in Kingsland, which was quite impressive. But, you know, maybe they weren't fighting against a, a Korean kingdom with 5 stars. And it's a different story based on what opponents you face. And you know, I'm sure 1228 did very good as well. I think this is like a really, really good win for 1228, which is a very old school kingdom. They've been a strong kingdom for a long, long time. And I think a lot of their leadership is still the same. You know, King Poppy Hale has been a leader in 1228 basically since I started playing the game. You know, Shinshi used to be in 1228, and so they've been around for a very long time. And this was just a very good example of the fact that it doesn't matter. Your reputation really doesn't matter that much. At the end of the day, you have to go out on the field and you have to take and hold territory better than your opponents. You have to, you know, you fight your opponents, and the team that wins that fight, they get to win the war. And it doesn't matter what the reputation is. It doesn't matter what words are used. It doesn't matter what the public expected to have happened. Ultimately, you fight, and the team that fought better gets to win and decide how things go. Henrik says they did a fort trick that made it impossible for us to break in. 1228 was crazy inside KO. So they did a fort trick that made it impossible for you guys to break into Norris Fort. Okay, gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of janky stuff with some of these passes in Warriors Unbound. Like, it's a little bit janky that you can, you know, like, if 1228 got through these passes first, they could have built forts at this pass, and 2100 would not have been able to reach this pass in time to destroy those forts. Like, that you simply cannot flag fast enough to get to these forts in time. Whereas over here, you can get to the forts in time. You know, at this level 6 pass here. So the lack of symmetry is a little bit janky, and Henrik is saying they did a fort trick to block them at the level 6 passes, which is also not good. But yeah, it looks like it was a really good KvK. People said that this war lasted for 20 days. It was a 20-day war. And yeah, I wish I had watched it a bit more, to be honest. It's just one of those things that if I live streamed more frequently, maybe I would have watched it more and could tell the story a bit better. But you know, sometimes these wars happen outside of the public view, but that doesn't make them any less exciting. Video games, by the way, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here, as always, my friend. Henrik says they had 4 hours of hard uptime during our downtime, and they put forts we couldn't rally because of a flag they put down first. So we had to break down a flag before we could hit the fort. I see, I see. Wait, 343 were our campmates against 2377 and 18. They did literally nothing in that KvK. Okay, so 343, which side were they on? Let me take a look. Yeah, because there's always like a lot of stories with these wars where it's like, it's not only the teams, it's not only the kingdoms that perform very well, it's also the underperformers. So he's saying that the 1228's allies were a farmer kingdom. Yeah, that's interesting, Henrik. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's an exploit, really. It just feels like maybe like slightly bad map design to allow stuff like that to be possible. But yeah, that's that KvK. We will go over the current ongoing Warriors Unbound a bit later. Let's see. I'm just gonna go through this chat real quick because I know I missed a bunch of stuff. Yeah, only farmers saying that HQ requires a lot of constantly switching target according to the top killer. He says it's a different play style. Yeah, I mean, to get the full advantage of the heal, then it certainly is a different play style. I mean, I think Huo gives you a lot, even if you're just casually taking advantage of the heal. I mean, here's why I'm saying that, right? Sure, if you have one march, then I guess you can micromanage that Huo and take full advantage of the heal by constantly switching to low health targets and killing them. But I mean, if you have 5 marches, if you're fighting with 5 marches and you're trying to have good march control, you cannot in any way, shape, or form be sitting there all worried about whether you're getting killing blows with Huo. You know, like whenever I focus on one march, you know, even if I just focus on one march where it's being targeted, right? Like my one march is being targeted, I select it with the keybinds, right? I'll hit E on this one, and then I try to retreat this one march. You know, it might take me 5 seconds to do that. It's not going to take me long to do that at all, but those 5 seconds are enough time for my marches to get pulled out of position and, you know, take more damage than they should. Just 5 seconds, just me for 5 seconds selecting some other march, hitting R to retreat it. In those 5 seconds, my marches get pulled out of position. So I just don't think that any open fielder worth their salt who's using a lot of marches at once, I don't think we can micromanage the Huo heal while we're doing all the other stuff we have to do. I could be wrong. I'm sure there are people who have better control of marches and can multitask better than I do, but I don't know that a different play style is going to work too well for most people. Henrik says, yeah, bad map design is Warriors Unbound is supposed to negate fort spamming. That's a very good point, and that's very true, right? You should not be able to keep building forts over and over again at the passes. That's really the only thing that makes Warriors Unbound bearable. Is that once you get through that first layer of forts at a pass, you are then able to break into the zone. And because Warriors Unbound is a pretty grindy map. I mean, let's take note of the fact that that war lasted for 20 days, which is that's like a Strife of the Eight type of timeline. But Strife of the Eight has like more downtime, I would say. You know, because like you get to the level 6 passes and you actually can spam forts. So Warriors Unbound is a very grindy, very long war. And I think, yeah, if you can just spam forts because of some sort of a glitch or whatever, that's pretty, that should definitely be fixed. Henrik says we burned around 10 to 12 forts, and they could call in 28 to help with the build. Was demoralizing. Gotcha. So you're saying that, Henrik, you're saying that they would get their heavy uptime and then they would build the fort during their heavy uptime? Oh, would they like delete a fort? They, instead of letting the fort burn to 0, they would delete a fort and then have their uptime and then rebuild the fort during that they would delete it during their uptime, then they would build a flag and rebuild the fort during their uptime and do it like that. Algebra says Huo Joan will be the best rune march. Yeah, that seems about right. That seems about right. Video Game says Huo gets countered with 1 troops. It's like you're silencing him by resetting his rage. We did it and it melted Huo rally. Well, yeah, on rallies you can definitely do that. And then that's interesting, Video Games, that worked, right? It's interesting that you guys, the enemy 1 troop Huo, and then got a very good trade as a result. because we did have a question about that. We had a question about whether the one trooping would work. So it does reset that skill. It resets the third skill. But Video Games is saying that it's better for the enemy to reset than it is for Huo's own team to reset. The only question we have left with Huo, really, and I'm sure somebody knows the answer to this, is whether this skill applies to swarming and rallies. Because it says when attacking an enemy troop. So does that mean that you are not getting 30% defense when you swarm? And does it mean that you're not getting 20% skill damage when you swarm? Gotcha, Henry. Gotcha. All right, so let's go over the Osiris League bets now. Actually, let me first think about what I'm going to do with more than gems. Is there anything I actually need? Well, you know what I did that was actually smart for once? Is I did not buy the 24-hour speed ups just in case more than gems came along. So I will buy 10 of these right now. That gets me to 6k. And then I'll just buy a couple of these chests. And that gets me to 7k. I think I'm just going to do the 7k on more than gems. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. I should have done one of these quests. I am a potato. I am in potato mode. Yeah, I needed to grab one of these. Ugh. All right, let me just reset a couple of these quests now since I'm in here. All right, that's fine. All right, so let's go over the Osiris League bets now. We've been doing very well in Osiris League. Hopefully people have been following along. Last week we crushed. We did really, really good last week. So we do have a lot of coins at this point. We're well on our way to buying out the shop. But let's just go through these games. And if anybody in the chat has opinions or knows anything about these matchups, then please please let me know. I don't think the odds here are good, right? I think 17-18 is very likely to win here. The word is out on 17-18 at this point that they're a very good team. They had a nice win against 1158 last week. If anybody did not watch this match, one very interesting thing that happened in it is that 1158 successfully used the warp skill, Master Strategy, to warp on top of the 1718 Arc Carrier. They brought about 15 marchers or so right on top of the Arc Carrier. They stole the Arc, and then they went and took a nearby outpost, and they returned the Arc on 1718 side of the map. So they did like a legit steal with this new warp skill. So that was pretty interesting, and that's something that you will see more of in the future. Here's RYF, the team we were just talking about. I don't think you touch this match because RYF is obviously very drained. They lost a close one last week. I mean, we can compare this a little bit. So 93L destroyed 797, whereas RYF lost to them. So we basically know pretty confidently the 93L is gonna win this match. Oops. But I don't think we want to bet on this match. I need to check real quick like what match I'm looking for. Actually, since like everyone's here and stuff, let me give you the hot tip. Let me give you the hot tip. As far as this week's matches go. I mean, okay, so here's what's tough about this. The thing that happened is that 2891 quote unquote had their alliances stolen from them. Like the original leaders of this kingdom were replaced by a different group. And so someone was saying in our Discord, bet against 2891 because someone stole their alliances and they're screwed for OL. Now, the only thing about that is Shinchi made a very good video yesterday about this situation. And at the end of the video, they did say that this situation was resolved. So I don't know if anyone has like the latest info about 2891 and like whether their ARC teams are screwed. Maybe we can look at them a little bit. Do they have 2 ARC teams? All right, I'm just gonna click on all these just to like, I'm just gonna click on all these to see if there's any other 2891 alliance in the round of 32. Looks like they just have the one team. Cheese Ghoul? Okay, so they just have the one team. 2891. D91R. Let's just go and look at that kingdom real quick. Let's look what that alliance looks like right now. Henry, welcome to the stream. 93L, yeah, looking good. Looking good in 93L this week. All right, so we are going to have to do some research. We have to do some due diligence here as best we can about this 2891 situation. Because the word was, so this is the team. This is the team that's in Osiris League. I mean, they look pretty big. Like power-wise, they're definitely big. Do they have the Zig? They don't have the Zig. Okay, so I think what happened is that this kingdom was given back to the original owners, right? I think Lily and Bilal were the original leaders of 2891. And so it looks like the kingdom was taken from them and then given back to them. So that does become an interesting question about this team's OL chances, because this is the alliance that took over the kingdom, I believe. Yes, Mubarak and Nightmare are the people who took over the kingdom, but now they're playing in Osiris League. And the question is, do we bet against them because of all the drama they had? I think the calculation is a lot different than when Evicted was telling me the other day to bet against them. Abu Red says, oh no, 2891 struggling already, glad I didn't migrate there. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I will say a little bit more about it later because there's a few leadership things I do want to talk about. So what is this looking like? So these guys, so this is 2489. So they're playing a pretty dangerous opponent. Very similar. So these guys destroyed Fame, whereas 2891 barely beat Fame. So this is really a good bet, even if they don't have a ton of drama. Like, just based on comparing the scores here, I mean, just look at the Fame results. Look at how close the match was for 2891, and look at what a huge blowout it was for 2489. Now, Fame could have fought in Kingsland in between these two matches, but that Kingsland fight didn't last very long. So I don't know that Fame got depleted in that war. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they no-showed for the match. I'm not quite sure. Let's see if we can look. So we're just doing a ton of due diligence here. We're doing a ton of due diligence. I don't think we can look at how many people showed up for the last match, can we? No, we can't. But all right. So anyway, I can definitely recommend a hefty size bet on 89R, right? So let's temporarily bet 40% on 89 NR. And then let's go back to Horus, which we know a bit more about. HDT Nation, welcome to the stream. That Shelby girl was in one of my restarts. Yeah, Shelby is a name that's very familiar. She's someone who hangs out on some YouTube chats. And I don't know if there's like one Shelby in the game, or if there's like many Shelbys. All right, so let's just go through these bets now and just see what we can find. Any 53 against Trash Pandas. So very similar scores against LN93, very similar scores against 48OF. 48OF beat both of these teams. 93P came slightly closer, but 93P is also a slight favorite in this match. I don't see any edge here. JST against 93T. I believe 93T is the biggest, like the main alliance, the main OL alliance for 1093. So this is a super interesting match. This is the kind of match that, you know, if the casters were not fully focused on Anubis this week, they would probably cast, because everyone wants to watch this match. Do we bet on this match, though? Do we bet on this match? I mean, this is the kind of match that a YouTube content creator like me should have a hot take on. I am more of the calculating, robotic gambler who, if I don't see an edge, I just don't care and I move on. But I feel like I should have a hot take on this matchup. Can 1093 beat JST here? I do not quite remember how good JST has done in Osiris League in the past. I don't know if they have a top 4 finish. So this is like a really good match. I wish we could watch this match. Okay, so we know that 1093 had a very good migration, and they migrated people in fast enough where I believe they could add some of those people as players to the roster. I don't know how many people you can add to the roster. I'm not that deep in the OL streets. But I mean, to me, this is an upset special. At these odds, let's say this. At these odds, I don't think the 93T is a bad bet here. I really don't think 93T is a bad bet here. So I think we can put 5% on 93T. Actually, we'll put this, do this. Bite, welcome to the stream. Abu Red, I don't think I said hello. I think I read your comment, but it didn't say hello. Glad to have you here. Again, Abu Red. I'm just gonna very quickly see if I can see. Because I know Bulba was hyping somebody from. Yeah. So Bulba is very high on 93T. So I think at these odds, 93T is actually a pretty good bet against JST. Elk versus PLA. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion here, I guess you could say. I mean, I could go through comparing the scores on every single match, but I just like don't care that much. V1648 against EV. So both of these teams, or EV's 0-2, so EV's out. V648 beat AX, EV lost to AX, but they're a big favorite, so I would pass on this one. LN93 against 84OF. We have, so OF has been really good. OF has already beat any 53, and they beat 93P. So this is 1484's team. They have definitely done better than I expected. LN93 has lost both their matches. Yeah, I wouldn't touch this one. Now we have TR. Now here's TR again. Again, we have TR. TR's gotten absolutely destroyed twice. E301 barely lost to OG, and they barely beat OG, and barely lost to 419E. So 1301 is very strong, and they are obviously going to beat TR. Like TR is probably in worse shape now after the debacle yesterday. And I want to say right off the bat, because I'm going to talk about TR later. Leading TR yesterday is undoubtedly a thankless job. It's got to be one of the hardest leadership jobs in the game right now. So when I criticize TR, I'm not criticizing the leaders who are really trying. That is a thankless job that I would not wish on anyone other than my worst enemy. But I think we just bet against TR again. I think this is just easy money. This is literally just like, you're going to win the bet. So like, obviously E301 is the favorite, but like you can still get a decent return on your money. And like, we're just going to leave this open right now. I honestly want to bet less on 89 NR just because this bet is so good. The E301 bet is so good against TR that we will just bet however much is left over as we go through looking for some fun ones. Let's see, Byte says, did anybody else get a message from Bilal telling them to join an account marketplace Discord? A bunch of people in my alliance got it. Yeah, I didn't get that message. I'm not in any of those Discords. All right, so here's Scoundrels. Oh, this isn't the 7 inches of death kingdom, I guess. Here's 1188. Oh, by the way, I don't know if Only Farmer is still watching, but the drama, to me, what's interesting about this drama, I'm all over the map today, but that's all right. Okay, so it's interesting to me now that Only Farmer says there was drama in this KvK, because something I noticed very, very recently is that our old friend, the King of 1871, one of the main players in stealing a star from our kingdom, his kingdom fell apart after they lost one KvK to a very mediocre opponent. And I was wondering did the King of 1871 leave or did he stay? All right. Well, he's not a R4 right now, but he's going to be here somewhere. Sakura is also from 1871. Basically, the leadership of 1871 migrated to 188. Yeah, Pyrenees is also from 871. I might not be able to find the king now. I'm not quite sure. He has a very long Korean name. He was an R4 the other day. Obviously, obviously some of the leadership of 1871 is now part of Lively's leadership. And I would not be too surprised if the drama that Only Farmer is talking about has something to do with this alliance here. Just based on the people who have migrated in. I could be wrong, and obviously they're probably not making the decisions here. But let's just say I went from having no opinion about this kingdom to I now most definitely root against this kingdom because they accepted the leadership of our sworn enemies with open arms. Well, let's get back to the betting here. So where were we? Oh yeah, we were wondering if we should bet on this match. Whatever, I have no opinion. We'll move on. Alright, so this one's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, they did about the same against 1v. The scores are pretty similar against 1v. But then the odds are also pretty even. 1671 was just in KvK, so maybe that's why they're a slight underdog. I don't hate a bet on 1671 here, but it seems unnecessary. It seems like there are better bets to make. 419E against OG. So 419E slightly beat E301, OG slightly lost to them. These odds look pretty reasonable. So here we have 7. This match is pretty important. This match will determine who advances in this pool. Whichever team wins will advance. Whichever team loses will be knocked out. And they basically did about the same against 1718. I'd say 1158 did slightly better. Yeah, they did slightly better. So I think 1158 is the favorite here, but I think the odds are about reasonable. I'm just going to try to go through these real quick because I just don't... I think we have really good bets already that we don't need to like bet on many of these other games. AX against INSL. Both teams are undefeated. No, I'm sorry. AXS has lost once. So this one is interesting. I think you could bet on AX here. I think you could do a small bet on AX. Just because they had the same score against EV, right? Like they had a similar point differential against EV. And like, yes, INSL beat V648, AX lost to V648, but I think what you have to understand about these point differentials we're looking at here is that could be one arc. Like that could be one middle fight. You know, maybe INSL won a mid fight against V648 and V648 won a mid fight against AX. And that's just like, that's what swings it, right? That could be all that swung it. So I mean, we could put a small bet on AX here. I mean, just to remind people that betting on underdogs is like generally the correct thing to do. We'll put 5% on AX for now, tentatively. I don't love the bet, but we'll put a bet on it. And then Mimi is favored against 1647. I wouldn't touch this one. Now let's see if we can find a good bet here in Anubis, since these are going to be the matches that we watch on Sunday. I would not touch this one. This is going to be this match is going to be cast, but it's like obviously just a blowout. Somebody earlier said I think 50 CN is a decent bet. We will check that one out later. I think that's in this group. Yeah, not going to touch this one. This is a televised match, but again, probably don't want to touch this one. Okay, so SJ32. I didn't realize that SJ32 was this close to beating Wib. because we did bet on SJ32, and that underdog bet actually almost came through. Kind of amazing. So LB81 did way worse against WIB than SJ32 did. But SJ32 is a big favorite, so yeah. We don't want to touch this bet. CPLW against 2244. Okay, so I mean, if you look at the point differential here against NJR, it's very similar. The point differential is basically identical, which would indicate to me that maybe CPLW has a decent chance in this match. We could bet 5% on CPLW. I mean, I'm gonna make these like 2.5%. Well, actually, we'll make a 5% just because nobody wants to do that math. All right, we could bet 5% on CPLW. Here's the bet that Video Games was talking about: 50 CN against T30. All right, so let's take a look at this. 50 CN is a slight underdog. 50 CN beat WA49, whereas T30 lost to them. They both lost to SV68. By roughly the same differential. Everyone bet on T30 before the season started. Personally, I would not touch this bet, Video Games. I would not touch this one. Because it's possible that T30 just sort of underperformed for an unknown reason against W849. And it still is the case that a lot of people bet on their Eye of Talents on this team. So 50 CN has something to play for here. If 50 CN wins, they advance. If 50 CN loses, they do not advance. Well, that depends on what WA49 does. But the 50 CN can lock themselves into the next round if they win this match, which does give them more motivation. This bet makes sense to me, but I just think we have better bets on the board, is basically what I would say. I don't think I'm too interested in this one. You know, AO77 won against PK by a little bit more, but they're the favorite. I don't want to touch this one. I mean, GT I don't think has any interest in losing a match. I don't think they have any desire to lose a match, so I'm not going to fade them here. Here's 7 inches long. Sorry, I said they were 7 inches of death, but they're just 7 inches long. And they're against 1937. Big favorites. Yeah, not going to touch this bet. See, there's just like no good bets in Anubis. That's the thing. There's no good bets in Anubis. We're going to have all these games casted, but they're just no good games. Yeah, R75 is way underpowered here. They have just over half as much power as 60 GT does. Here's another match that's going to be casted, right? Gloria Vietnam against Bot, but it's like, there's just no way. There's just no freaking way. Why is this match even being casted? Like, I mean, this is just a complete blowout. We know who's going to win. This match is also being casted. Again, it's going to be a complete blowout. So, like, we can't even make bets for action. Like, we can't even make bets on the matches we're going to watch because they're just boring bets. Is this one interesting? SV68 won, beat BT30 by significantly more than WA49 did. SV68 has looked quite good so far. I've not been able to watch any of their matches, but they've looked quite good. And I think they're one of the more interesting teams to watch in the playoffs because they might be able to pull some upsets just based on the talent that they have. And then PK26 against RD26. Is this an important match? Not really. Not really. RD2K can advance to the next round if they win this match. Similar. So PK lost to 61 BG. RD2K beat them. Similar point differential here. I mean, we could bet on RD26 here. Or RD2K here. Abu Red says, wait, are you only going for underdogs? No, Abu Red, I'm not going only for underdogs. I think the majority of our bets are going to be on favorites, actually. The majority of our bets are going to be on 89 NR and E301, and I think they're both favored. So, like, underdogs are generally better, but, like, this season, I've been betting on favorites because there have been such good bets this season. Yeah, I no opinion here. Okay, so you could bet a small amount on RD2K. I'm fine with 5% here. I'm fine with 5% RD2K. All right, so let's just look one more time at this bet. Yeah, so this is like a even. I mean, they're a slight underdog right now, but I'm gonna bet that this thing goes to even after I put a video out later. So what we are gonna do this week, I feel better about the E301 bet than I do about the 89 NR bet. So this is 35, 40, 45, 50. We're just gonna bet 50% on E301. So these are my bets here. This is what I'm gonna do this week. 30% on 89 NR in Bastet. This is in Horus. This is in Horus. This is in Horus. This is in Anubis. And this is in Anubis. RD2K over EK26. So this is what I'm going to do on bets for Osiris League. And, you know, we do have to just sort of note that the bets this year have been so easy. I mean, fading TR 2 weeks in a row has been so easy. We faded Peak last week because Peak migrated out. Like, Peak doesn't really have a team anymore. I don't know where Peak is this week. Oh, Peak's against 1B, so like you just... 1B is definitely going to win this, but you just would never bet this because 1B has no reason to even win. So, I mean, it's worth noting about Osiris League that there are just like more layups, more super easy bets this year than any time that I have ever freaking remembered. And so the question about that is why? Why is that happening? And the only conclusion you can draw is that more top teams are falling apart than have fallen apart in the past. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's why these bets have been so good. Peak fell apart, we bet against Peak. TR fell apart, we bet against TR. So I mean, maybe it's the case that more alliances, like more big alliances, are falling apart now than they did in the past. I don't know that that's really true. I think it's sort of just coincidence. You know, if 556 had been in Osiris League when they fell apart, we probably would have had some amazing bets on 556. If 860 had made it to the final 32, maybe they did. When they fell apart, we would have had good bets on 860. Same thing with 1412. And whatever other big kingdoms have fallen apart recently. So I mean, it's just like, I think it's just one of those things, right? I don't think that it's a sign that the game is dying, but one could certainly argue it's a sign that the game is dying. When you find super easy bets in Osiris League, one could certainly argue that it is an indication that the game is, you know, just the top end is, I don't know, falling apart, or some top players have stopped playing. I mean, to me, it's a cycle. I think we're just in part of a cycle, you know. Some groups have fallen apart, other groups are getting stronger. I think we're just in the cycle of it. By the way, I forgot to mention that it would really help me if everybody threw a like on the video. I also forgot to share this out anywhere. I'm really kind of failing as a content creator, I guess, because I totally forgot to ask any of you to throw a like on the video, and I forgot to share the link to the stream anywhere. But we'll throw the links up here. We might as well. We'll throw them up now, even though we're, holy shit, we're like an hour and a half into the stream already. Time flies, man. Time flies when I'm doing this live stream. All right, I shared it out, so maybe we'll get a few more people to drop in. 16 likes. Appreciate it, everybody. Poker Channel, welcome to the stream. Thank you for your comments on my video earlier. You made a very well-written comment that I threw a thumbs up and a heart on, but then I think you edited it to something shorter. But I appreciated those very well-written comments on my video. I enjoyed reading them. I'll be right back. I need to grab a couple of sugar cookies to eat. All right, I am back. Only Farmer says it happens to me a lot. That also happens to me a lot. Yeah, I start streaming and then I forget to share it out. And of course, like the total YouTube pro that I am, I shared my link out and then I immediately walked away from the microphone to get a couple cookies. So anyone who saw the link and immediately connected to a stream in which literally nothing was happening. I don't quite know what to refresh here. I know we want to keep all of the gem quests now. So I should probably just aggressively delete some other stuff. We probably have way too many barb quests right now. Maybe one or two too many. I mean, I'll do this later. I don't know why I'm refreshing Alliance mobilization quests on stream. A sticky note? That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Because I don't like to share the stream link before I've started. Because that would be, you know, they would just get a waiting screen. But then once I start, I just forget. I'm too focused on my opening monologue to remember to link it out. All right, what do I need? What am I doing right now? So one thing I wanted to talk about, and someone said something about leadership earlier. Let me, what was it? What did someone say? Oh, I guess maybe we were talking about that. Oh yeah, we were talking about 2891, right? So Shinji did make a very good video about this. I encourage everybody to check it out. He made the video yesterday. I believe 2891 was in the in the title of the video. And to cliff note what happened, 2891 was just in a KvK. They won their KvK. I want to say it was Heroic Anthem. I'm not quite sure, but I think it was Heroic Anthem. Maybe we can tell. Yeah, it was Heroic Anthem, right? And I guess that what happened after it is that people felt like a group who had come in felt as though the leadership, the native leadership of 2891 was not qualified to lead them going forward. I guess they probably just felt like things happened during war where, the leadership probably showed some inexperience or bad decision making, bad communication, whatever it may be. I mean, look, you can... It definitely happens in the game at this point that very experienced fighters migrate to a new kingdom. Maybe they migrate to a new kingdom because there's a bunch of whales there and they want to get gold chests and there's buzz around that kingdom, etc., etc. These very experienced players migrate to the kingdom. They jump on voice chat on the first day of war, and maybe they realize that they know more about the game than the leadership does. Maybe they realize that the leadership is lacking a bit. I mean, that would definitely happen, right? If I migrated somewhere, I would be able to tell pretty quickly at what level the leadership was in terms of war. And so I can see why a group would be like, hey, this is disappointing. This is frustrating. Like, these people are in charge of the kingdom, but they're not as good of war leaders as this kingdom should have. And that is one side of it. Like, what I liked about Shinshi's video is Shinshi very much focused on the side of it that said, hey, Bilal is the person who recruited me here. Lily is the player who keeps the vibes together. Like, Lily is like a vibe type player. She keeps the morale up. This is a very social game, right? Like, you recruit through social means and you keep the morale up in your kingdom through social means largely. But Shinshi focused on that side of it. He almost, to an extent, underplayed the importance of having very good wartime leaders. And Abu Red saying, wild that they pretty much steamrolled KvK enemies, though probably bums though. Right, I mean, that's the thing, right? And Shinshi also pointed out that they won the KvK. But you can win a KvK and still realize that your leadership is not that good. I mean, it doesn't take much. There's all sorts of different things. Maybe they're slow to build flags. Maybe they are bad at always having a garrison ready for the flags. Maybe there are times when you need to swap captains, but there's no titled R4 on at that exact moment to make that switch. Maybe they don't communicate well on voice chat. Maybe the markers they put up are not that good. There are many ways that you can tell that the leadership is lacking, even when you win. So, I mean, I think there's merit. There's not merit to stealing the kingdom. There's definitely not merit to stealing the kingdom. But there is merit to, being a good wartime leader is actually important. Your kingdom cannot succeed if you have these social players in charge who are not good wartime leaders. It will fall apart. Your kingdom will fall apart. And I think we saw some examples of that this week. The debate about leadership took place in 2891, but the examples of poor leadership took place elsewhere. For those who don't know, there was a alliance in Lambo's KvK. I'm not going to go to it because I actually don't really like the idea of naming some of these players. I think when leaders make a really big mistake, I don't love calling them out on it. But basically, one of the alliances in Lambo's KvK did not assign their autarchs to players, right? You are given autarchs, but then you have to assign those autarchs to particular players. Right here, you're seeing this is who 1556 assigned their autarchs to. And the deadline passed in Lambos KvK yesterday, but the autarchs were never assigned to players. And so the 48 or so players who were going to get autarchs from that alliance, none of them will get the pass to buy an autarch from the special inscription shop. So essentially, if we assume that all 48 of those players buy the Hunter inscription, and we assume that Hunter is worth about 15% of stats, compared to, they'll buy this instead, right? They'll buy Robust instead for 3.5% of stats. So we'll say it's an 11% upgrade to buy Hunter. That means that the best 48 players in this alliance will all lose out on 11% of stats on their best March. And that is a tough one, man. That is a really tough one. As a leader, you can come back from this mistake. And here's the thing, right? There's two things that could have happened. Number one, the R5 and a bunch of the officers, they were all oblivious to what happened. No one said anything to the leader. They all were just oblivious to this deadline. The other thing that could have happened is that the leader was offline. A bunch of officers were trying to contact them for several hours because they knew this was coming and they knew it was a problem. And then it was just the R5 that was unresponsive. For the sake of this kingdom, you hope that all the blame falls on the R5, because then it means that only one person screwed up. But if all the officers were oblivious to it, then that means that the entire officer team screwed up. And you know, I think the word that is most underused in this game as it relates to leadership, video games, was from a different kingdom. It was not from Lambo's kingdom. It was from one of his campmates. The word that does not get used enough when thinking about leadership in this game is trust. Trust is a very big deal in this game. And leaders get things done based on trust. The more trust your players have in you, the more they will listen to you, and the more stuff you can do. You know, you don't just do the simple stuff. You can ask them to do some complex things, some risky things, some counterintuitive things that don't seem fun. Because if the players trust you, they will do those things anyway. And trust just builds up over time when you do things well, and it drops over time when you make mistakes. And, you know, the more trusted you are as a leader, the more relaxed you are, the more confidence you have. When you have a sense that people don't trust you, you start to second guess yourself, you start to be more anxious, and you tend to play it safer. You start looking to other people to validate your decisions. You start saying, okay, what do you all think about this? And trust is just like a very big deal. It's a two-way street. If the players trust the leaders, then leaders can be more effective. But also, if the players trust the leaders, then they are more likely to stay in the kingdom. And I think that a mistake like happened with these autarchs is just a blow of it's a blow. It just hurts the trust so much. Not so much because of the mistake, but because of how badly that hurts the vibes. You know, it's like you won the KvK, like you had a very nice win. It was actually like a fairly hard-fought KvK. Lambos KvK was a relatively hard-fought heroic anthem. And when you just kill the morale of your alliance like that, that is it's like a breach of trust, basically. It's you lose the autarchs, but you also really damage the trust. And it's something that can happen. I totally understand why something like that happened. After a war is over, a lot of people, leaders especially, we turn our brains off. We've been thinking so hard and working so hard for, you know, the duration of the war, and then it's over, we're able to relax, and our brains shut off. And so and then also what happens, right, is that you can't assign the autarchs until the contributions have been finalized, until the stats have been finalized. And so there is like a rather brief window between, okay, the team decides how many autarchs are going to be distributed to each group, right? That's the first thing that happens. Like each alliance gets assigned a certain number of autarchs. And then, because, you know, you even see in ours, right? We're like assigning the autarchs to alliances within our camp. So that happens. You get the stat. You assign the you get the stats. You assign the autarchs. Then you have to look at the individual stats to assign them to players. So there is a rather narrow window sometimes, especially if those stats come out late and the main alliance takes extra time divvying out the autarchs. So I can see how it happened. And then you're just like, you're offline. You're offline for like 1 day. You're offline for 1 day. You forget the deadline's coming up. No one can contact you. And this sort of disaster happens. I can totally see how it happens. In fact, I'm surprised it hasn't happened before now. But it's tough. It's tough to come back from that, honestly. I think I could come back from it, like in the situation I'm in now. But like if I was a newer leader to our alliance, if I had made other big mistakes in the past, and then I made this big mistake, I think it would be tough to come back from that, because people were just like, is this going to keep happening? You know, is it going to keep happening? And I think like the big thing with trust is just like, if you avoid the big mistakes for long enough, if you have, you know, if you perform well, if your team performs well in many, many KvKs, if your alliance lasts for year after year after year, then the trust gets really strong, because people have like just never seen anything go wrong. They're like, we've been a part of this group for 3 years. Nothing big has ever gone wrong. You know, that's when trust is just very, very high. And until you have one of these moments, until you have one of these big screw ups, the trust stays high. But then you have the big screw up, and then a lot of stuff gets thrown into doubt. Because if it can happen once, it can happen again. Whereas if it has never happened, then there's a decent chance that it never will happen. Sorry I went on a bit of a rant there, so I'm missing a bit of the chat. I can tell that there's some very good chat that happened. Abu Red says, I totally agree with this. I wonder if leadership has been used to the high AC Imperium speed of KvK before going into it. You need the home kingdom leadership and the KvK leadership. I mean, yeah, you just need to compartmentalize. You know, different people are good at different things. You know, Captain's not really like a wartime leader, but Captain is a good recruiter. She's very good at sort of managing things like MGE, and she keeps the morale up, and she's just like a very good sort of person to have out front that everyone else can rally behind. But she's not really like a wartime leader, but she does like a ton of stuff outside of that, you know. And she's a decent war leader also. Like, she's decent at it. So I think it helps. I think you want your primary leaders to be. It's nice when they're good wartime leaders, but you're right, it's not necessary. Like, people can do different things. I mean, Addy and I are both wartime leaders, but we do different things in war. You know, I'm more of the like fighting, saying where the ball goes person, and Addy is more of the territory builder. Rolf says, I'm an officer from 2417 and I'm not good with flag building, but I keep all the players together. Yeah, I mean, some people are better at flag building, other people are better at the social game. You know, some people are good at diplomacy, some people are bad at it. Some people can recruit, other people can't. Like, I'm not a very good recruiter, and I'm not good at diplomacy, so I don't really do those things. But I think I am a good wartime leader, and I think I'm pretty good with the vibes. And then, so this Korean player here says, what were the players doing? Can't they tell nothing was selected? Autark means everything for KvK. Yeah, I mean, someone should have, like... Yeah, I mean, like, the players could have said something too, right? Like, it's not even just the officers. Like, a player could have been, like, started pinging everyone and been like, what is going on? You know, like, in 12 hours, we have to assign Autarks. How has this not happened yet? So yeah, I don't know how far back it goes. You know, I don't know how deep it goes. Was the entire alliance out to lunch? Was it just the leadership team that was out to lunch, or was it the R5 that was out to lunch? Hard to say. Video game says I've only been a KvK 1 leader. Well, I mean, the only way to become a better leader is to get experience at it, right? Like that's the thing. That's the Did all these barbs disappear? Man, this is looking really light right now. It seems like the barbs are not spawning anymore. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you just get experience at it, right? Like, I think, you know, if someone wants to be a leader in this game, one thing they could do, if they were real serious about it, is start like a second account in a new kingdom. You don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money. You can just be like, you can talk to you can be active, you can build your account up a bit, and be clear with your alliance that you A, want to be a leader, and that B, you're experienced in the game. And oftentimes they will let you be a leader because you have experience, and for the most part, alliances are looking for more leaders. Like, if you want to lead in this game and you have skill at it, you will get a job. You will be hired somewhere because there's a lack of leadership. But you can go back and become a leader in a younger kingdom, and you can get experience that way. That's what Eli did. I think he's an S right now, but Eli started a new account in 2525, and or 2523, and they made him king of that kingdom. You know, he had all this experience. He had seen how we did things in the Handsome Devils, and they made him the king. And he was the king of that kingdom for a long time, for 3 or 4 KvKs. Actually, for 4 or 5 KvKs. And so he got a lot of experience as a leader in that situation. It's not really about being experienced in SOC. I really think it's more about being experienced as a leader. You know, understanding how to communicate, how to deal with people, how to deal with the pressure. I don't think it's the mechanics, really. I mean, the mechanics of this game are just not that complicated. And they're sort of solved. You know, to some extent they are solved. The mechanics are solved. You form a ball. Your rally lead is from a different alliance. You stand under the flag. You swarm the flag. I mean, it's not that complicated. The mechanics of leadership are not that complicated. But it's about really just getting the experience of dealing with the situation, and also learning that really the main thing about being a leader... Why did the music stop? Why did the music stop? All right, it's back. Anyway, the thing that you have to learn as a leader is that really what a good leader does is they get stuff done. Like, it's not about delegating. Being a good leader is not about delegating. Being a good leader is dependent on your ability to get a lot of stuff done during war. And, you know, just assigning autarchs is like something that you just have to get done. You just have to get it done. You have to plan out the territory. You have to, you know, if there's like a barb fort that's blocking a teleport spot, you can just rally it yourself. Just rally it yourself. If you need someone to charge into the enemy first, just do it yourself. Do it yourself. Don't ask someone else to do it. Just do it yourself. You have to. Those are the things you have to kind of learn as a leader, and you can learn those in KvK 1 or KvK 10. It doesn't matter. You can learn them anywhere. Stompy says, honestly, I would migrate out if that happened to me. I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, really. Yeah, like I said, you can come back from it, but certainly I think some players will migrate out based on something like that. All right, so I can tell that my time in the Lost Kingdom is definitely coming to an end. Even just compared to a couple hours ago, there are just like not very many barbs. I feel like they stopped spawning. Video game says we had like 15 T5s KvK one. It was crazy. They should have a co-leader title. They can do everything but disband. I mean, I don't know. I guess that kind of opens up a different debate, which is like, should you have a council or should you have a dictatorship? I'm kind of somewhere in between. I don't think a pure dictatorship is correct, because then that dictator is just not getting enough feedback about what's the right and wrong things to do. I think a council is also ineffective because you just don't, it's a waste of time to like run every decision through a council. I think, you know, the way I view it is it's just a long-term thing. Like, you just have to be a leader of a group for a long time, and you just build up credibility over time. I mean, you can come into a situation and have credibility based on your past resume and just what you say. I remember when Teddy went into 1254. I'm blanking on where Teddy was from. It was another big kingdom. Teddy was from another big kingdom. I can't remember which one it was. But Teddy became a leader in 254. He would appear on some podcasts as a leader in 254. He was an R4, I think, in SW, I want to say. And he had like a lot of credibility right from the start. But like at the same time, he's still in that first war, in the first tough war that he's in, he's still jumping onto that voice chat and sort of asserting himself to a group of people who have never played with him before and who just don't have that much confidence in him. Like he had the resume, he had the, you know, he had just a confident voice and a confident presence. But at the end of the day, like if you make a couple of shaky decisions on the first day, or just some decisions that someone might second guess, someone might vocally second guess you on that freaking voice chat, and B, on some level, you know, as that new leader, that people are second guessing you. And the only way you solve that is over time. Like you just have to, spend time with that group. You have to build up trust with that group. Because otherwise, whenever anything goes wrong, whenever something goes wrong, you are going to get second guessed. You are going to get criticized. Here's Stompy. Stompy, what's up? How do we solve this, Stompy? How do we solve this? This is a tough one. I feel like I was here first, but you're a nice supporter of my channel. How do we solve this? This is tough because there's not many barbs left. Like, there's very few barbs left. This is one of the few clumps left on the entire map. I'm gonna do the nice thing to my viewer, and I'm gonna let you have this one, Stompy. I'm gonna go over here and grab this one before you get there. But I don't know any other. I don't know any. No, you take it. You take it. You take it. No, take it. Take it. I already walked away. I already walked away. Don't. Now we both lose. Stompy. Stompy, you took my generous gift and you just walked right away from it. What was I saying? Yeah, like you can, I don't know. Trust is just like a very big deal. Trust is a very, very big deal. There's also trust between officers, right? Like you have to trust the other officers that sort of they have like your best interests at heart. You have to trust them that they're not gonna, you know, try to like take over the alliance or, you know, diminish your power and stuff like that. Officers need to trust each other. Players need to trust leaders. Leaders need to trust players that they're good and that they're going to show up. And that when you say to push forward, everyone's going to follow you a second later. Trust is like a very, very big deal. And I think it gets built up slowly and it gets lost pretty quickly. And I think that is the, I mean, that's a powerful, cool thing about this game, honestly, is that what has really happened over the last few years is that people are building up their armies. People are either quietly or loudly building up their armies. And their army is largely the people in their alliance and in their kingdom. But their army is also the people that they are networked with. They are the people who might migrate to their kingdom someday. And these armies move around. You know, these armies move around. Armies will, an alliance will die, and that core group will then go to another kingdom. Something else that happens is that some of these armies are not, they don't necessarily have a home. They're more of a mercenary group. You know, their army moves around from one kingdom to another. And they're not the leaders in the kingdoms they go to, but they are the leaders within their own mercenary group, their own army. And so armies are just being built in this game. And it's not just that someone migrates to your kingdom. That's not the final step of building the army. You build the army by building up trust. And as I've said a number of times, that takes time. It takes time to build that trust. But we've been playing this game for almost 5 years now. And some armies have been building for that entire 5 years. And some of those armies are quite strong at this point. You think about 93. You think about 960. You think about some of these Korean kingdoms like 1718. You know, it's taken a bit of time for... I mean, we thought that Korea was going to be the dominant culture in this game. There was that huge Korean boom when the game released in South Korea, where like there was a lot of Korean kingdoms in like the 1500s, the 1600s, the 1700s. But then Koreans didn't really become that dominant as quickly as I expected, right? There aren't that many big Korean kingdoms. Obviously, there's 1V, and 1V has done very well in Osiris League, but they haven't done amazing in KvK. They've done okay in KvK, but they haven't done amazing. But now we're starting to see these one alliance Korean kingdoms like 1718, 158, 1753, 1473, a bunch of these kingdoms. They seem to be very strong at this point, right? I mean, 1473 beating 2100 like that in Kingsland, that kind of says something. I think that kind of says something. That some of these Korean armies, small as they may be, they've built something pretty good. They built a pretty good army at this point. They've built a, you know, a top tier army. Rolf says, my kingdom just had a big migration with another group of players joining us. We reached B seed and we plan on registering for KvK on the 7th. Nice, Rolf, nice. Actually, let me, yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like you just, we struggled to recruit for a long time. Oh, look at that nasty leash. I hit this guy for 1 second and he walked away. And now he's coming back. Man, these barbs really do want to just disappear for a few months. But yeah, I mean, like, in the Handsome Devils, we struggled to recruit for a long time. We won that 2 versus 6 Strife of the 8, and then we had basically no migrants after that. Like, we won this very impressive KvK, and no one cared. No one migrated to us. But now we're getting a bit of hype, and the migrations are happening a little bit faster and a little bit easier. And, you know, it's, the army building is going better than ever, basically, you know. Maybe 20% of our maybe 20% of our alliance at this point is what I would describe as old school, and the other 80% are fairly new migrants. You know, like I'll just go through the list here real quick of people who are online or high power. New migrant, new migrant, new migrant, new migrant. Old school, new migrant, new migrant, new migrant. Mark color's like middle of the pack. New migrant, new migrant, new migrant, new migrant, old school, new migrant, old school, medium, new migrant, old school, new migrant, old school, and it just goes on. Like, easily 2/3 of our alliance is new, because you just tend to, your standards get better over time. Your standards get higher over time. What was sufficient contribution 18 months ago is no longer sufficient contribution, and so some of those players have to leave, and then we just keep upping our requirements for who comes in. Are you the new Legend Phony? Yes, man. Yes, I am Legend Phony. That's correct. I've been dubbed Legend Phony by 903, even though everything that I predicted about the KvK was correct. So, I'm just finishing this delicious sugar cookie, and then we will go check in on the 2605 KvK. After that, we will do some Champions of Olympia. ZFT Gaming, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well. So, we were talking about trust, right? And we were talking about leadership. We were talking about sort of big mistakes. Yep, Gasman, it was a great KvK, definitely. I will agree with you on that one. I don't agree with too much else of what you're saying, but it was a great KvK. And GG's to both sides. So we were talking about leadership and trust, and I would say that brings us to 1254. Chisco did a nice video about this today. He had a good stream yesterday. I watched this fight a fair bit, both on his stream and just live. Alright, so actually it looks like they're pushing out a bit more. Looks like 1254 has pushed out a bit more here. I imagine this, so this is healing, and they've actually held all this. I was watching them fight earlier, right around here. Here's Wolfie, the player who is very controversial. So, I mean, for those who don't know, so this is the KvK that 1846 and Chisgle's Kingdom 2605 is in. It's a Warriors Unbound KvK. Basically, the 1846 up here is allied with this group here, and with 1254 down here. So, and just yesterday, about maybe 30 30 to 32 hours ago, these zones open. And the thing about this fight here is that on paper, 1254 does have roughly the same amount of power and roughly the same amount of KP as 1302 has. And 1302 is not at full strength either. They had some migrations out after the last KvK. So this was the kind of fight where potentially, even if... Okay, here's the thing about this fight, right? This is TR's entire KvK. 1254's entire KvK is based on this zone. If they cannot win this zone, then they are basically locked in. They're going to be locked in over here. They're already locked in up here. And they're going to be locked in this zone 6. So the only thing they can do in this KvK is try to win this zone of Lime Hill. And even if they don't win it, then what they need to do is they need to do as much damage to 1302 as they possibly can. That's their whole KvK. Because if they can't accomplish those things, then they are simply locked in, and it's going to be very hard for them to do anything. So from the 1254 perspective, it was very difficult, or some very tough things happened right off the bat. Number one, they failed on the pass. You know, people have probably watched too many Siege of Orleans pass openings lately, where all we do is swarm them down with our 3 auxiliary skills. And people forget that these passes are not, you know, they're not the easiest thing in the world to take down. Like, I personally don't like swarming right from the start, right? I would rather launch the rally, wait a couple minutes, then start swarming, and make sure you get through the pass, right? By having the rally hit for maybe a minute or two, right? But anyway, 1254 was not conservative like me. They just tried to swarm it right from the start, and they didn't clear the pass the first time, which was a huge disaster because, you know, that was a 5-minute delay. 302 was literally standing outside their pass. Like, there were 302 marches just like standing here watching them try to take this pass. And I guess there's also just one pass into this zone, which I didn't quite realize. And then the other thing that happened was they cast Skillful Craftsman. They started building a flag. And then, I mean, I guess he's been called out so many times, I might as well say it. Then this player, Wolfie, cast 2 skills. He cast Counteroffensive and Unbridled Progress, like back to back within seconds of each other. And by doing that, that canceled the Skillful Craftsman. 1254 was not able to fast build any flags. And so, I mean, not getting through the pass the first time was bad, but not having Skillful Craftsman was super bad. That was way worse. The second mistake was way worse than the first. And, you know, what happened here is just that 302 has taken over almost the entire zone, and there is some risk that they're just going to get locked in, that 1254 is going to be locked in before they can even do much damage. And that will be just a disaster, because once they are locked in, they really can't do any damage. I mean, there's going to be forts all around these passes. They're going to have to form a really strong open field to attack those forts. They might get some burns on the forts, but whenever 302 wants to teleport over here, defend their forts, all 302 has to do is wipe the open field, and then they don't have to play any other defense. Like, they just have to win an open field fight, push 1254 back to the pass, and it's over. That's it. So they are probably going to be locked in sooner or later, and they will just not be able to do almost any damage at all. But it is worth noting that they have made some progress today during 302's downtime. We're starting to get into Chinese mid-morning now. So 302 is probably starting to wake up. but at least 1254 has stabilized here. I think what's notable is that even as they have stabilized, they didn't connect to 302 anywhere. Like, they stabilized here, they destroyed one of 302's flags here that was connecting to this territory, but they did not actually go on the offensive and like burn more of these flags. There's literally only one point on this entire zone that's connected right now, which is wild for a KvK of this size. So here's Doge coming in on the rally. This is Warriors Unbound, so it'll be interesting if he's using Henry Zug or Henry Nevsky. I would use Henry Zug, probably. Yeah. All right, so they're swarming the flag right off the bat. Bub is a 1254 alliance. So you see that 302 basically has the field here. I mean, their players are pretty deep here. And there's the burn. There's the burn. A very quick burn, right? A very quick burn. We saw the start and the finish of that rally. It lasted less than a minute. So the rains were very poor there. And it's almost like what happened is that 1254 made some progress while the Chinese were asleep. But then as soon as 302 woke up, the defense became kind of light. You know, because they didn't really reinforce that flag at all. Which is like the opposite of what 1254 should be doing, right? This is the time when they should be doing damage. Before 302 has fully woken up, while you're still, to some extent, in your uptime. I mean, it's Friday night in the US. Like, the US players can stay up late here. Like, this is where you try to do some damage. You have to try to do some damage. And, you know, this is actually a very similar situation to what happened in our KvK, right? 1418 was in a zone 5 against 903. And if they lost that zone, they were going to be locked in. They kind of knew they were going to eventually lose. Like 1254 knows they're going to eventually lose. But the whole question is, how much damage can you do as you're being pushed back? And, you know, as I've said before, and I know that some of the players from that camp don't like when I say this, but I don't think that our allies did as much as they could. What you saw with our allies was something very similar to this. You saw a bunch of territory that doesn't touch each other. Like, they would just have all this territory that were like neither side wanted to touch. And it was like, you know, I don't know how to describe this. It's just like it's like a truce, you know. It's like, let's just have a truce and only fight in this one spot. Like, nobody wants to focus on more than one thing at a time. Let's just fight in this one spot. It's like a casual truce. It's a casual agreement between two casual armies, you know. But you just have to do it, man. Like, you have to do as much damage as you can, because you don't know what's going to happen elsewhere in the KvK. Like, 1418 and 556, if they knew that we were going to beat our opponents, they probably would have fought more. But, like, they thought maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it's not worth it to try hard because we're going to lose anyway. But you just have to try, because you don't know. You don't know. Because whatever damage 1254 does not do, that damage is ultimately going to fall on 1846. I mean, what is the thing that has changed in the last 24 hours in this KvK is that a lot more pressure has been put on 1846. And I think we are going to get a pretty good feel for just how strong 1846 is when this war is over. Because they have a lot on their plate. They truly have a lot on their plate. They are going to have to work for this win. They have the ability to win this KvK. They are a bigger kingdom than 2605. They're a more experienced kingdom than 2605. So they have the ability to win this KvK. But they're going to have to be very efficient. They're going to have to get very good trades. They're going to have to be highly active. They're going to have to convert that activity into open field dominance that makes everything easier, right? Because when you have that open field dominance, you can essentially just swamp the enemy, make them take very bad trades if they choose to keep fighting you in the open field. So they have the ability to use their superior size to very effectively conquer this map. But when you have 1254 giving you this little help, then just the pressure on 1846 is massive. Stompy says, to be fair, we were severely undermanned. We had 40 plus players leave a few days after passes opened. We went from 2 alliance to 1 alliance overnight. Yeah, Stompy, those players leaving definitely hurt. You know, that we had heard that was going to happen. We didn't know when it would happen. It's a tough situation, right? Hoy, welcome to the stream, and shout out to Kingdom 2345. Yeah, Stumpy, it's a tough situation, and I'm not saying that TR is not in a tough situation here, where you have to convince a bunch of players that even though they're going to lose the zone, they have to zero themselves anyway. Because, I mean, you basically have to treat it like you're zeroing yourself. Because, like, everyone's going to stop somewhere before that, but at least have that mentality. Like, you have to have the mentality, let's go all out. Like, there's no way you can present this in any other way than let's go all out. But it is very hard to do. It's hard to convince your player base to do those things. Algebra says, why did they leave? I think the players from 1418 left because they were just... They had a planned migration to a new kingdom. It was something they had planned ahead of time. And then I think the timetable was sped up on that. Like maybe the kingdom they were going to wanted to register for KvK like sooner than they expected. That kind of a thing. But yeah, they 1418 did lose a lot of their best players, their best leaders and stuff like that. I mean, the size of the fighting that we're seeing here is kind of similar to the size of the fighting we saw between 903 and 1418 and 556, right? It's like a medium-sized fight. And this is like a much bigger KvK, so... So, I mean, this KvK has gotten very interesting, right? Like Cliff Notes, summary. This KvK got very interesting based on the mistakes that 1254 made in getting into this zone. Hopefully they put up a good fight here. You know, right now I would say they have maybe enough teleport space. But like if they lose a couple more flags, their teleport space becomes very problematic. And what you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be behind this pass, having to walk all this distance to get to the fight. You do not want your city behind this pass when you're in this fight. And if they lose a couple, see, here's the other thing, right? Why aren't they building more flags? Like, why aren't they building more flags here? Like, you need teleport space. I mean, maybe they're out of flags. There is a back flag here, which is good. Wait, is this a back flag? Yeah. So this flag is good. But I don't know. I would like be building more flags, open up. I guess you don't really need teleport space right now, but... I mean, I would put a fort. I would actually put forts at this pass. If I were 1254, I would just like put forts right at the pass. Like outside the pass. On the Lime Hill side of the pass, you just put forts right around here. And I mean, I would have literally done this like a long time ago. Like yesterday, I would have done this. And then eventually you get pushed back to the forts, but at least you have those forts to fight from. Because you don't want to be fighting on this side of the pass. You want to be on the Lime Hill side of the pass. Here's Huo being targeted. I like Huo's portrait, actually. Very young looking. Very young looking portrait. Looks like a kid, basically. So this is half the story of this war so far. And the other half of the story is the war between 1175 and 846. And this one's a little bit annoying because both sides picked this magenta flag color. But let's... Alright, so... Is this all fab? Okay, so 846 is actually... Even though the fighting here was heavier earlier, it almost looks like the fighting has died out over here. If I'm not wrong. Looks like Fab is planning to connect here. And I mean, it looks like 1175 has just like given up on this zone. They have no cities here. Right? It just looks like they haven't really... They're not fighting at all anymore. I mean, so here's the thing, right? Like, war has a lot of ups and downs, a lot of hills and valleys. And so it was the case that yesterday 1175 was doing more damage than 1254 was. But and even earlier today it was the case that 1175 was doing more damage than 1254. But as we look at the map right now, at this exact moment, we have to say that 1254 is doing more damage than 1175 is. Which makes some strategic sense. Let's see if anything's happening here. No, it's just free burning here. It makes some tactical sense, or strategic sense, that 1254 is doing more, because 1254 is all in. Like, this is the last zone that 1254 can do damage in the entire KvK. And so they have to just throw everything at it now. On the other hand, 1175 can take over Norris Ford. They can link up with 302 in Norris Ford. This is a zone 6. They can put forts around these passes, around the level 6 passes. 1175 and 302 can put forts over here to stop 846 from entering the zone 6. And so they can do a bunch of damage in that way rather than continuing to fight in this zone. So I can kind of understand why 1175 has fallen back and chosen to fight another day. And I can kind of understand why 1254 is still fighting right now. But it is worth noting that 1175 has fallen back here and appears to be done fighting in this zone. Because I'm sure their allies were hoping they would do a bit more damage. But it may be a strategically smart retreat. I can buy that. I can buy that. Video games, I think people said Huo is 16 in real life or something. Well, there you go. There have been plenty of military leaders that are like very young. because you know, like they're in that they're royalty, right? And so then they start very young. I'm forgetting a little bit who it was. I think someone in Nevsky's. I almost want to say Nevsky started very young, if I'm not wrong. I almost want to say that Nevsky started as a warrior when he was very young as well. Let me take a look. Let's do a quick Google of Alexander Nevsky. Yeah, so Nevsky was born in 2021, in 1221, and then by the time Nevsky was 19 years old, he was leading an army and attacked a Swedish army when he was 19. The Battle of Neva saved Novigrad from a full-scale invasion from the west. Because of this battle, 19-year-old Alexander gained the sobriquet Nevsky, which means Neva. This victory, coming just 3 years after the disastrous Mongol invasion of the Rus lands of the Northwest, strengthened Alexander's political influence, but at the same time, it worsened his relations with the boyars. He would soon leave Novgorod because of the conflict. Yeah, I think Nevsky had some ups and downs, but like he got his start as a military leader when he was very, very young. He was appointed a military leader when he was 15 years old. Nikkei says, I'm in Earth Camp and chillin'. Yeah, I was wondering about some of these other kingdoms, right? I kind of wanted to rockboard some of these kingdoms, actually. So let me just rockboard a few things here. So Nikkei's in Earth Camp. Yeah, I'm just gonna rockboard the kingdoms that are like don't have their own camp, basically. Because I think it does matter. I think Earth Camp is going to be pretty important at this point. Because it's really just 846 and Earth Camp taking on 3 opponents. Alright, I'm trying to load Rockboard right now. It's pretty slow. Rolf says, I still have high hopes for 1254. They can rebuild the kingdom again. I don't know. I mean, I don't think we've really seen a massive Imperium fall apart and then get rebuilt yet. So I think it's very tough to do. And it's like, the thing is, Rolf, like who would want to be a leader in that kingdom right now? With so much like dead weight, with so much, you know, with people like literally trolling you by casting skills. There's so much pressure, like, because you still have that pressure of having a bunch of big spenders, right? There's still a lot of big spenders in 1254. There's people who have had like a lot of success in the past. And so I feel like there's still like a lot of pressure on those leaders. I feel like the expectations are still pretty high. So here's this. So let's look at Earth Camp real quick. 2332 and 2597. 2332, 410 KP, deads of 3. Here, let me put our let me put 770 in here just so I have like a frame of reference. I never even know if that works, but yeah, it does. Okay. All right, so 2332 has 3.4 billion deads. That's fairly significantly lower than 770. And then 2597 is like a farmer kingdom, I see. So 2597 is like pretty farmery. But 2332 looks decent. They look decent. They're solid. I mean, 400k 400 million KP or 400 billion KP is like pretty good for a smaller kingdom. And their deads are okay. Their deads are okay. So 846 has a bit of help, but not a ton. You know, not a ton when you're dealing with 1302, 1175, and 2605. And then 2026 is... There were 302. So they're okay-ish. And then I believe 2266 is with TR. Again, they were okay-ish. I mean, the thing is, between 2266 and 1254, they have over a trillion KP. Like, they have over a trillion KP. And you just can't do 24 hours of fighting and then call it a KvK when you have a trillion KP. I mean, they're going to lose this flag. We might get some zeros here. I don't know. It's always possible. But yeah, good luck to you, Nikkei. I'm hoping for a very interesting KvK, basically. And I think it's shaping up to be quite interesting. Did Nevsky die at 23? Oh yeah, Jedwiga must be young, because Jedwiga just looks so young in this game. I was actually going to use Jedwiga for my thumbnail tonight, because I was like, who should I use for a thumbnail? Who's like a really good character model that I haven't used? I was like, oh my gosh, I've never used Jedwiga. But there's no like great art for Jedwiga available on Google Images. So I would have had to make the art myself, which I started to do, but then I was like, you know what? That Justinian model is quite good also. Let's just throw the Justinian model on the thumbnail. Yeah, Jedwiga is so awesome. Jedwiga is the best. She looks amazing. It's hilarious that a cute girl can be this devastating garrison commander, just defying all aggressive rallies. And she just looks awesome in every way, basically. Like her model is cool, but her portrait is also really cool. Oh, Huo died at 23. Nikkei says, past 6 opening will be critical. It's where 2605 tries to enter our zone 5. Yeah, so what's going to happen here? So Chiskel has this zone right now. And then they will go into this zone 6 immediately. Or no, they'll go into San Pedro. Yeah, the past 6 opening... Well, Nikkei, I think you guys will be set up. Like, you guys are going to have 24 hours to set up in Foxton. Both kingdoms, or both camps can set up in here. So, I mean, you can put forts all around here. Like, you'll put forts here, you know? I don't know if this is an easy... This looks pretty awkward for forts, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, like, look at this. This is, like, pretty awkward to place a fort, I would think. Oh, I can't place a fort here, but... Yeah, I'm not sure where you put the fort here, but obviously you can put one on the left, you can put one on the right. And so, yeah, this will be a bit, well, so yeah, the thing is, this map is cool. Like, Warriors Unbound is a cool map. Like, it's so cool, right? Because there's choices to be made here. Yeah, so yeah, you're right, Nikkei. The thing that 2605 is sort of forced into is that they need to invade Foxton, right? Or wait, no, because their team. So one of two things can happen, right? 2605. They need to have one victory. Either 2605 needs to invade Foxton, or 1175 and 302 need to hold Norris. Like, either of those things could happen. Only one needs to happen for them to win. Because they will for sure control San Pedro. And you really just need to control 2 of the 3 Zone 6s. And Chisgle's team has the ability to control all 3. They have the opportunity to control all 3. Whereas 1846 can only control 2 of them. They will never take they will not take San Pedro. Not until the level 7 pass is open. And even then, it's a tough ask. So it's just a very interesting configuration. This is the same configuration as the 2100 KvK, where it's the top left, the top center, and the bottom right against the other 3. And this seems like a very good configuration. Top versus bottom is a good configuration, but this 2 top, 1 bottom configuration also seems pretty good. Because both sides have some very interesting choices to make. Very interesting choices. Because, well, yeah, I mean, it seems like Chisgle's team is the one that's going to set the tempo. Because 1846 cannot just say, oh, we're going to go into Foxton, we're going to just keep 2605 out, we're going to make sure we win Foxton. They cannot just say that. Because they have to win Norrisford. They have to win Norrisford. They cannot go into Kingsland with 2 entrances while the enemy has 4. Right? So, you know, Chisgle does not have to go into Foxton. But Laguna has to go into Norrisford. What did we just see here? What? Did you guys just see the teleport here? We just saw somebody teleport in Norrisford. I know I saw that. I know I saw a teleport animation. What the heck? Friggin' ghosts. It's also after the new update to allow multiple marches. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that as well. I mean, I feel the same way as just about everybody else does, which is that they have to put a cooldown on it, or it's just going to be a complete mess. But I'm certainly glad that other people are going to be beta testing the multi-dispatch, and I just have to watch. I can watch the craziness from afar, and hope that they fix it before I am in a KvK. But anyway, that's this. Oh, this is. Oh no, he poured it out. Okay. Okay, so that's this KvK. I mean, I didn't realize I was going to talk about it for as long as I did, but I think that's just a sign that it's very interesting and there's a lot to say about it. Which is good. It's really fun when we have like a very interesting KvK, and it looks like this is going to be another one that lasts for a very long time. We're not going to know who the winning side is for a very long time. So, you know, every time I do a live stream, we can check in and see what's going on, and it's just something we can follow over time. So that's good. That's very good. It's what's happening on your map. Oh, the teleport. Okay, gotcha. All right. So I've been streaming for a while, and I think it is time to play Champions of Olympia. If anyone would like to play COO with me, just let me know in the chat. Oh, you know what? I always do this. I'm gonna have to grab these marches. I always mess this up as a streamer. My chaining marches are out in the field, and so then I can't. Oh my gosh, they're completely away from each other also. Oh my gosh. Am I gonna use 2 teleports right now? I guess I have to. Nobody wants to wait 20 minutes for this to... Well, here, I'll do this. I'll do this. I haven't done this on stream before, but I'll do it this time. I'm just going to go through my farms real quick, and I'm going to send out gatherers on my farms. And let's see how long it takes me to do that. The Double C is basically 15 minutes away from my city. So let's try to get through all my farms in 15 minutes. I'm sure we will, but let's just try it. But yeah, if you would like to play Olympia in about 15 minutes, just let me know. Okay, Rafa. Yep. Rafa's in. All right. Yeah, we'll do unranked mode. I like unranked. I actually like unranked Olympia quite a bit. It takes a ton of the pressure off. So I should absolutely be able to get through my 5 farms or 6 farms in 15 minutes. The problem is that I just click on a bunch of stuff that I don't need to click on instead of just very quickly sending my gatherers out. Yeah, I'm seeing now that this Lost Kingdom is definitely thinning out. There's not even as many resource tiles anymore. Is ranked open right now? No, well, ranked is closed right now, so we would have to play unranked. But Rolf, you're welcome to play. Just message me in the game. I'm in 770, but we're in the Lost Kingdom, and I'm the R5 of N70D. So just message me in the game if you want to play Olympia, and I will add you once the team starts. Yeah, so, okay, I just don't need to click on everything. Alright, Rolf, sounds good. Oh, Rafa, do you have Huo maxed? That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I want to see Huo in Olympia also. We have to target the Huo first, right? Like, you just have to target the Huo first, because otherwise they get the heal off. That's a pretty big deal. Alright, so I guess I shouldn't put another gold pit in the Lost Kingdom. So we'll say that's over. What I should be doing is going around looking for gold resource tiles, because what I really need is gold. But I think they're just all they've all been pleated at this point. Pretty much everyone in this KvK needed gold. It was basically about, once the war had ended and everyone was just gathering, it was something like 3 to 5 times harder to find a gold tile to gather on than any other resource type. So the thing I do when I'm on these farms is I just like I don't know that I need to do these buffs right now, but I'm just like doing them anyway. Like, I didn't need to do those buffs because there's no gold pit to take advantage of the faster gathering speed. Anyway. This is the inner monologue I have every day while I'm sending my farms out is, you should be doing this faster. Why aren't you more efficient at it? It's a hard choice to focus either Huo or Nevsky. I think in Olympia we have to focus Huo. Because A, he's less tanky, and B, he does just as much damage. Like, Nevsky might be better overall, but I think you target Huo. Alright, so we should probably start putting gold pits back in the home kingdom. But we haven't done that yet, so my goal with my farms would be to log into them 5 times a day. I'm pretty good about sending my gatherers out when I wake up, and I'm pretty good about doing it when I go to sleep. But like during the day, I'm rarely doing it more than once. Like I rarely send my gatherers out twice in the middle of the day. But it's really what I need to do because, quite frankly, I cannot support my current T5 amounts unless I start gathering more. Rolf is maxing out Jan. Right on. Video game says you think 250 million KP with around 1.65 billion of each resource spent is good. I think that's a little bit low. I think that's low, video games. I think that's pretty low. Because I did a billion KP this KvK, and I'm not sure exactly how many resources I used, but it definitely wasn't. Because like if video games at that rate, if you did a billion KP, you would be using 24 billion resources, and like nobody's using 24 billion resources in a single KvK unless they're like a giant kraken. I'm really not sure how many resources I used this KvK. I would hate to make a guess because it's just as likely to be wrong as it is to be right. I know I went through a lot of resources. I went through, you know, I don't know. I went through maybe like 60 to 70% of my resources. And the reason I had so many was because a friend of mine migrated out and he gave me all his resources when he left. And so I had like way more resources than normal. But that's not going to happen in the future. And so I just have to farm more. So I've got 4 farms and then I'm building 2 others. I've been very slowly building this account here, Yaki the Tickler, for a long time. A really long time. I barely ever log into this one, but I'm gonna move it to 770 in a few days. And like this is a dead kingdom. If you guys want to see a dead kingdom, let me show you a dead kingdom. This is where a lot of us used to play. This is where most of us are from, is 567. But this is a dead freaking kingdom. I started this build earlier today, and I still only got 9 helps. And I will show you the Sunset Canyon in this kingdom. It's gonna blow your mind. I'm speeding this up. Actually, I'm not gonna speed this up because I don't have the RSS anyway. ZFT Gaming says my goal is to get RSS. Same. Okay, so here's this. Look at this kingdom. This kingdom is so dead. I'm 57th. I'm 57th in Sunset Canyon on a Friday. And I mean, my team is horrible. Like this is my team, right? I'm not beating anybody, right? I'm not beating anybody. But there's like less than 100 people doing Sunset Canyon in this kingdom. I'm 57th there. It's probably 59. There's probably literally 59 people. Yeah. There's 59 people who've done Sunset Canyon this week in this kingdom. These are the alliances. These are the alliances in this kingdom. It literally just says we are a dead kingdom. I'll show you the last mightiest governor. Oh no, we can't see it. But yeah, like here are the mightiest governor scores. They're just always arranged, and the MGs are always arranged. It's generally the same people who are winning them. Here, I can show you these, right? Like Creed, Poor, A, Mori, Zenith. That's the same one. Creed, Poor, Zenith, the A person. So anyway, this is like a very dead kingdom, and I guess people can probably have a decent time winning MGEs. But my gosh, is this thing dead? All right, let me bring these gatherers out here. 1972 dead AF2. They didn't have enough to fill 15 spots for MGE. Yeah, the MGs here are only rigged to maybe the top 7 or 8, right? After the top 7 or 8, anybody can finish in the next places. So we definitely, in this kingdom, we definitely do not have 15 people signing up for arranged Mightiest Governors. Oh, highest power? Let me check. I mean, there's probably some people who are just like completely inactive. Yeah, I mean, okay, I didn't expect to see this. I did not expect to see this. Like, these guys have really high power. Really, really high power. Wow. I did not expect to see that. Yeah, I think it has become an MGE farm. I don't think it was always an MGE farm. Right? Like, you can see that these players are pretty... Oh, here's King. This is my buddy King. I guess he's still active. They have these Middle Eastern names, but I think these are mostly Korean players, or this used to be a Korean kingdom. But anyway. Yeah, on some level, it's just an MGE farm at this point. It's not a bad life. Like, I wouldn't hate to be in a kingdom like that. I mean, if you can get... If you can like, if you can last as the kingdom is dying, if you can like decide not to leave as the kingdom is dying, and then the kingdom actually freaking dies, and you're still there, and then you can get just like so many MGE heads while being a super casual player of the game. There's some merit to that. But I think like you're sort of like you're foregoing your fun now in order to be better prepared for the future. But I think sometimes what happens is that that future never arrives, right? Like, you spend all this time in a dead, boring kingdom building up your account. But then what if ROK is dead or in a worse place by the time you decide to, quote unquote, get serious and join a real kingdom? Or what if you burnt out or just can't play the game anymore by the time you decide to go to the serious kingdom? So I see the allure of going to a dead kingdom for MGEs, but I don't know. I would rather just have the fun now, you know? Just get it while it's get it while the going is good, I think the expression is. Let me look. Get it while the going is good? Get it while the getting's good. Get it while the getting's good. All right, so that took basically 15 minutes. Let's start getting set up for Olympia. Let's see. All right, I think we'll use Guan. Yeah, I think we'll use Guan, Boudica, and Nevsky. I think the Boudica with purple gear and the unmaxed Zug is better than an expertised XY William? Maybe? With gold gear? Maybe not. Maybe XY William is better. Yeah, everybody who's watching, please throw a like on the video. And if you want to play Olympia, let me know. Video games says, are you just building up farms to migrate in or something? Yeah, I mean, video games with me, I don't like to... I don't know, I always like to build my farms in new kingdoms, right? I mean, Yaki the Tickler was just this random account I had, and I just like slowly built it up. But like as far as the Boudica main account, I just have more fun building a farm in like a new kingdom and sort of like following the story of that kingdom and like experiencing the early game like a tiny bit. I don't play enough to like really fight or anything, but I can experience the early game a tiny bit through other people. And so I just like play these farms and gradually build them up. And then once that kingdom hits Season of Conquest, then I will migrate that farm to 770. It's not the most efficient way to do it, obviously, but I just sort of have fun doing it that way. Like, Sleepy Kuh, for example. Sleepy Kuh, I built this account in 2515, right? I was just this like random player in 2515. I would read the Kingdom Mails to see what's going on. I think we lost, I want to say we... I can't remember. We went 1-1 in the first two KvKs. I think maybe we won the first KvK and lost the second one, something like that. And you know, it just makes it more interesting. It makes the farm building more interesting. ZFT Gaming, as far as my bets, here's what I did. We're betting 30% on 89 HR in the realm of Bastet. And then we're betting 50% on E301 over TR. And then we have 4 other small bets. But the bulk of our betting is on E301 and 89 NR. I'm not... Let me make sure this name is right. Let me make sure this name is right. 89 NR, yep. And then this is DN1R? Okay. DN1R. Yeah, those are our bets. Okay, so Rolf. That's Rolf. Gotcha. Video games with a couple reports. Is this just an open field report that you kept going this whole time? Wow, pretty nice. Little Scipio Zug action. Yeah. Was this at a rune? I guess it couldn't have been at a runes because there's no runes fighting in Warriors Unbound. So this is a very good example of rage swapping here, where video games kept this same combat going for like an extremely long time by just switching from one nearby enemy to another. So the rage just kept generating over and over again. And he got some very good trades out of it. Alright, so let me get this gear correct. I feel like I'm doing a bunch of stuff very slowly for some reason. Oh, double C. Right. Do you think they're good bets? Yeah, ZFT, I feel very good about the bets this week. Very, very good about them. All right, so let me message Rafa as well. Hopefully he's still here. Okay. All right, so it looks like we've got 3 of us for Champions of Olympia. That's cool. I guess I will try XY William here instead of my Archer March. I don't know. I don't know about this one, but we'll give it a shot. Actually, I did pretty well last week, so I'm just going to use the Boudica. There we go. Gear looks right. Gear looks right. All right, let's do it. Unranked COO. Let me, do I have this right? Yeah, this looks fine. All right, I sent you guys invites. Rolf, I'm running the exact same lineup. Or no, I'm running Boudica Zug. I'm running Boudica Zug. But it's an unmaxed Zug. Rafa's got the Huo. Nice. Nice. And now we're playing a new song that I downloaded that I really like. This is a song called Honeyman by Giant's Nest. It was in my last video. And I think this is just like a really good song. I'll turn it up a little bit. Yeah, Rolf, be sure to... Oh, okay, I got you. $39 NR has 1 billion less power than their opponents. 89 NR? Yeah, but their opponents had some drama in their kingdom recently, and their opponents also basically have the same point differential against previous opponents. So we're looking at those factors more so than power. All right, so this is this map here. All right, and I need to remember to put the stats on other people. Hopefully my audio is okay. I've kind of changed how I'm sitting, but yeah. All right, so they all went middle, so I'm like out on an island here on this flag. Yeah, exactly. Against Fame, 89 NR did way better. Exactly, MD 72. Yep. All right, so everyone went middle here. What a weird. I've never even seen anything like this. I'm just gonna go here. No point in going middle and getting a couple hits. But are they not even hitting the thief? They're just fighting each other? How weird. How weird. Deep, honey man. Down deep. I'm digging the song. I'm definitely digging the Honeyman song. All right, let me put stats on somebody else. I don't think I finished that thought, but the thought was, it seems like you can keep putting stats on other people until you've statted up your entire team, and then you no longer can. Go all out on E301 or whatever they're called, that's a guaranteed win. Yeah, you could do that too. You could do that too. I like to give people options, you know? I like to give people some options, but you're right. You could just bet it all on E301. Speaking of guaranteed wins, this Olympia match is a guaranteed win for us. Holy Toledo. Yeah, this one's over. This one is over. All right, quick surrender on that one. MD72 says, I don't understand why people are betting on PLA after their horrible performance these last few matches. Yeah, I didn't look at that one too much, but I do remember the odds being kind of even-ish, if I'm not wrong, so... I mean, people just don't look, man. They just don't look. They bet really quick. Too late, I put 7k into 89 NR, they better win. Yep, GL to us. Alright. I don't think we tested Huo very well on that one. So let's just have one person go middle here to the apple, whoever wants to go middle, and then if you're not able to win the middle, you just want to like stop the enemy from getting it. So let's just do one middle, I think. And so let's just try to delay middle and win the sides. Oh, stop him, Rolf. Stop him. Totally forgot to do stats. Yo, Joey, help me out here, buddy. I think we're losing this. Seems like it. I never know if I'm supposed to run in these situations or what. It's probably not a great idea for me to run here because we don't have this flag, but... Oh, nice, Rolf. Nice job, dude. Or whoever this is. Alright, alright. Alright, so I think running away there was okay, because I'm helping cap this faster. Then I can heal. But we'll see, we'll see. Probably should have gone over here. What is happening here? What is this? Oh, he's stunned. What is this, dude? He's perma-stunned? And now he can move. Alright, we're fine, we're fine. Not my best performance up to this point, but, you know. I'm just going to kite this guy because he's not doing anything. We hold this flag currently. Obviously, we have a big fight coming here. I'm going to swap onto the XY here. Alright, this is fine. I don't know what's happening with the middle. It looks like they're getting the apple. That's not good. But let's go here, I guess. We're going to lose this apple, but we can keep it fairly... maybe we can do okay here. We're controlling the sides, which is good. I think I need to, like, kite more when I know I'm being targeted. I think there's some merit to that. Wait. Oh, so they got the apple again. We're just falling apart on the apple. Just falling apart on the apple. We completely fell apart on the apple here. We completely fell apart on the apple. Ay, ay, ay. I feel like we shouldn't have lost this. I'll be honest, I don't think we should have lost this match. I think we let them have 2 free apples, and so that's why they won. So this is the thing that I make a mistake with, is I put my marches all over the place. And I just am not able to do shit. Because you can't micromanage in this many places at once. And I didn't put stats on people at all. I obviously did not play good here. I guess we really should be grabbing this apple right now. Yeah, it just doesn't matter. I probably played bad here too. I was just all over the place, not focused. My marches were in too many places. I never used my skills. It is what it is. We just let them get 2 free apples, like, no competition for those apples. Is Nevsky HQ a good pair? I don't think so. I don't think it is, ZFT. I think, I think at the end of the day, AoE is the big threat. And so when you have a march with no AoE, then you can just, like, not focus that march. And so, you know, if you pair Nevsky and Huo together, then I think you just kind of ignore that march and target the Boudica Zug or the Joan William or whatever else you have out there. And yeah, the Huo Nevsky is going to do a lot of damage, but there are a lot of marches that do a lot of damage. I mean, it's probably not bad. It's probably not bad, but I think it's better to split them up. Alright, so I'm just going to focus on the fundamentals here of like using my skill to give people stats. I'm going to run with my teammates for the most part. Nobody's going here with me, so I'm going to go mid too. I don't know why so many people went mid, but whatever. Is it a thing for everyone to go mid now? Is that like a thing? All right. Uh-oh, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. Yeah, I need to just run here, I think. I don't know. I never know if it's correct to like run in a spot like this, but I'm running. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't healing with my Guan sooner. That was clearly a mistake. Knights, welcome to the stream. I'll check the chat in a bit. Trying to secure a couple of gold heads right now, and it's not going too great. Alright, so they just baited me into using a skill, I think. This is a huge fight. Look at the size of this fight. Like, what the hell? Oh, these guys just are stronger than us, I guess. we just got wrecked. Holy shit, we just got wrecked. Kingdom 1500, eh? Oh, yeah, these are some alliance names I recognize for sure. Yeah, I got wrecked on that one. We let that second game get away from us. That was the problem. Oh, Knight, thank you for checking out the whole stream. Appreciate it. Everybody throw a like on the stream if you've not done so. That's the free-to-play way of helping out the stream. And thank you again to Black Panther for the donation earlier. Really appreciate that. Alright, so I'm going to focus on giving stats to my teammates and staying with a group. Like, I'm just gonna run with another murder ball the whole freaking time. Holy shit. No, we can't take this fight. We're outnumbered. We're outnumbered. We're outnumbered. No reason to take this fight. Alright, we're fighting bottom now. Alright, so we have 4 of the 5 flags. That's good. It seems like the enemy does travel as a group fairly well. So I'm just going to keep running with my teammates. Wherever that takes me. I guess mid looks promising here. I'm going to cover this. We don't need to both cover this. All right, I'll let Rafa handle this. I will go down here. I have been forgetting to use my stat skill much. I think the biggest issue with Olympia is just that, like, marches get nuked like way too fast, right? You know, the nice thing about this game in general is that it literally does happen turn by turn. It's like literally one turn at a time. The fight swings in one direction or the other. But in Olympia, as you just saw, like, it's just kind of crazy how quickly your marches die. And so it's just like unsatisfying. It's an unsatisfying experience. Let me target this Huo. Let me target the Huo. Their Huo is getting melted like really fast. I will observe that. Alright. Rafa, thank you for the carry. Alright, I think we might have gotten enough. I think we might be able to get our rewards. So I'm gonna leave and see if we have all of our rewards. If not, I will restart the thing. Alright, yeah, we're good. How do you value gold materials relative to gold heads? I'll let you know. Rolf and Rafa, thank you for the games. I'm gonna end it there. Just because we did get our rewards. That was fun though. Leo, I mean, I just literally assign a gem value to each one. I assign a gem value to gold heads of 1,000 gems. That's sort of that's around how much you're spending per head on the wheel, for example. And it is the case that basically no one in the entire game other than very early game players, is spending the 2K to buy these gold heads. That just never happens. So we're giving a estimated value of 1K gems on the gold heads. Whereas on the gold materials, we're assigning a 600 times 4 or 2,400 gems. So a gold material chest is worth 2,400 gems. Gold heads are worth 1,000 gems. I'm basing this on the fact that like people do actually just buy these materials from the shop quite often. So I think this is a very fair value for a purple chest of is 600 gems. And this is just an estimated 1,000 gems per gold head is just kind of like a figure that everyone goes with. Like a lot of people in the game will value it at that number. Yeah, Rolf, GG's, man. Good playing. And thanks for the carry on that last one. Or wait, Rafa carried us, I forgot. Rafa's Huo carried us. Yeah, I mean, I would be happy to play ranked mode if I'm streaming when ranked mode happens. But when I stream on Friday nights, it's always unranked. And it's been fun the last 2 weeks. Like, we've played the last 2 weeks, and it's been fun both times. Because there's, like, no pressure. I'm not embarrassed by my low ranking. And so it's pretty good. All right, so Shoto is asking to get his R5 back in D. I'm going to take a wild freaking guess that Shoto is back in the home kingdom and doing barb camps. And so he wants to do the D side barb camps. Shout out to Shoto. He's a very dedicated grinder. And I've been streaming for about 3.5 hours. It's been a really good stream. I want to thank everyone who hung out in the chat for making the stream much more enjoyable and interactive and entertaining for both the lurkers and for the many people who will watch the recording of this stream later. I want to thank again Black Panther for his donation. For anyone who subbed tonight, thank you as well. I didn't have my Streamlabs open to see if anybody subscribed, but let me take a look real quick. I'm going to do a quick bets video later, but if you've been watching the stream, there won't be any new info in that. And I'm also hoping to do another war video this weekend, because I don't have any work to do. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to make some content, grow the channel, and just keep it moving forward, you know? KvK's over. The title of the stream is KvK's over, what next? And the answer to that question is, let's keep moving forward. In everything that you're doing in your life and in the game, you just have to keep moving forward. Life is a grind. Life is pretty crazy. It's far from perfect. When you try to make progress, the progress generally happens more slowly or differently than you expect. But you keep moving forward, and over time, your life absolutely does get better. I will testify to that. I've tried grinding hard for a number of years, and I have been gradually making a comeback from a pretty low point. So it doesn't always go the way you want. It doesn't happen as quickly as you expect, but if you do keep pushing forward, things do get better. And so, yeah. Thank you all for hanging out, and I will see you all on the flip side.